this is the broadcast tool here, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see in all its glory. You can see the notation. You can also see the engine evaluation next to each move, and also how long they spend.
What I like is you can make your own moves on the board. You can check the alternatives to what the players did. And even for the moves you make, you get the computer evaluation here.
Fantastic.
I think you get it quicker and better as a premium member, such as yours truly. What I also like, there is a chat function. You can exchange things with people from all over the world. If you want to see something else, let's say you're watching a tournament and you want to see all the games at once, no problem displaying. I have no idea how many games there are, like 128 games at the same time. You can do even more. This is a team competition. You click on multi-board.
That's beautiful.
You can see all the 8 games going on at once.
You can see the games and standings, which
What we got? I'll click around. Games and standings here.
Yeah. Analysis, if we click on that tab,
Let's click on it.
You can see that it's a great little graphical illustration. The red line is 0, that is the absolute even mark. And if the white bars go up, the further up they go, the bigger the advantage. And the black bars show a black advantage.
Then there is a database, and here we get the alternatives. And if we click on a move in the database, bam! It gets played on the board.
Fantastic. And then the PGN can even be downloaded.
I like that feature.
Yeah.
Whatever tournament or game you're following, you click it and you open it in the program of your choice.
Yeah, and one of the great things I like to see as well is when we get a video from the playing hall. I like to see them in their seats, nervous, you feel the tension, you feel like you're there, don't you?
Chess is really becoming a spectator's internet sport.
Great that we can see that. I also love to see the fact that we can get in some of our friends to join us during the broadcast, and it's all interactive. That's what we love. And
a lot of overview functions there.
A lot of great functions there, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you take advantage of all of them. Let's get back to the commentary.
Keep tweeting us, hashtag C24Live. We love to hear from you. Ask us anything mainly about Lawrence life, but if you have other questions, they're also welcome.
Also send us anything you like about Jan. Hashtag C24Live.
Absolutely.
Chess is simple. You just make the right moves.
Dubov, I like his style. I like the white shirt, the long hair. You know, he looks like a pop star that's working very hard on looking like he's not working very hard on his look.
Felt to me like the nerves let Daniel down completely. Okay, my feeling is that he has to stop the bleeding. So in this sense, a draw in the second game with black would be a very, very good result for Daniel, just to get back his confidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chess 24, and welcome to day 2 of the finals of the Lindores Abbey Rapid Tournament. It's Daniel Dubov versus Hikaru Nakamura, and the situation is very, very clear. Daniel Dubov has to win today at all costs. If he loses, he will finish in second place, and Hikaru Nakamura will win the tournament. Yesterday, Hikaru got off to a flying start, winning the first 2 games against Daniel. Only needed a draw in the third game. Daniel clawed one back. It's a little bit of tension there, but Hikaru saw it out, drawing the final game. And that means that Daniel, doesn't matter if he wins in the first 4 games or wins in Armageddon, he has to win today. If he doesn't, Hikaru will be crowned champion, taking home $45,000 US, and a lot of bragging rights. And talking of bragging rights, I'm joined by my my good friend, a man I wish to aspire to, the kind of man I would like to be in the next few years. A man who has been a personal idol and inspiration from a chess and humanistic point for me. The one and only Grandmaster Petersfield.
Hello, everybody, and yeah, believe none of that. Just never believe a word this man says. He is a very, very cunning person, and
nice to see you too.
I'm doing fine, and I'm very happy to be here with you, Lawrence, sharing this, moment of truth, so to speak. But yeah, a mouth-watering prospect for us today. Honestly, should be a great day of chess to watch. And I think what I thought about yesterday, watching the match progress, was it was incredibly important for Daniel to actually win a game at some point, considering how the match started. And the fact that he got one back, the fact that he won a very nice game 3, a kind of a game you want to win against a strong player, in particular in Rapid, because it was very, very clean. He got a little bit of something out of the opening and converted cleanly and technically correctly, never really letting Hikaru back into the game. I think it will give him a tremendous amount of confidence, this game. And it's, I think, hugely important in that context that this game happened. But of course, he's still facing an uphill battle, playing against somebody who has been, I think, clearly the best player in the field, winning the round robin, seemingly without breaking into much of a sweat. And of course, the hero of the knockout phase, having beaten Magnus in the semis. And what's even more impressive, having beaten Magnus in the semis after losing the first set, which is, I think there are many people who would have counted him out at that point. So clearly, Daniel has a very difficult task in front of him today, but not an impossible one, as was proven yesterday by him, as mentioned, getting one back against Hikaru. I think a lot will depend on how the early phase of the match will go, and we'll have to see from there.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I've been mightily impressed by Hikaru. In fact, I can't recall the last tournament in which Hikaru, for me, was playing at this level. He has been resilient. He has converted when he needed to convert. And he, of course, showed that despite getting a drumming by Magnus in the first match of their
of their match, you know, he does have that bounce back ability, which is the quality of true champions, and rightly deserves to be where he is, and rightly deserves to be huge favorite to now take home the title. And I agree also, Peter, that I think it's absolutely essential today that Daniel gets off to a good start. Doesn't mean he needs to win, but that he just shows something, you know, that he's putting Hikaru a little bit on the back foot under pressure. If Daniel fails to do that, for example, if Hikaru wins his first white game, I'm very concerned for Daniel, because
yeah, that would be a problem. And I've had this opinion actually expressed to me yesterday by interested parties on the interwebs, that the fact that Hikaru starts with white today could be a significant advantage, because if he does draw first blood, it will instantly become very, very difficult for Daniel to do much. We have seen Magnus himself lose game 1 on day 2 of their semifinal, and then never really coming too close to squaring the scores. He did manage to level the scores on day 3, but in general, it's quite clear that Hikaru, when he just needs to keep the balance, is a very, very difficult player to beat. And also, like, perhaps we could, because we do have some time until the action starts, we could maybe go back to game 1 of yesterday, because I think that was very, very much a turning point there. And if you look at the position, yeah, move 18, I think the turning point there was after b5, a5. Yeah, I think up to this point, Daniel was playing quickly, and let's put the knight a4 back. Knight a4 is specifically the move I wanted to talk about. Daniel was playing quite confidently here, and managing time well, and I think he was actually ahead on the ahead and doing better on the clock than Hikaru was. And this is a very pleasant position for white. I think white achieved about as much as he generally achieves in these types of structures. There's now a square on c6 we can try to exploit. The black pieces are sort of slightly on the back foot here. The queen on e8. It's a normal square actually in these positions for the queen. It often goes to e8 because on c7 it gets hit by bishop g3. So black often hides it on e8 in these types of positions. But I think, like, when I saw this position, I was watching this live, and when I saw this position, my first instinct was let's just play knight c6. Let's give this pawn up, establish this sort of if black does take, which I suspect he will be tempted to. So if black takes with the rook, and we go bishop b5. Seemingly the only move black can make is rook c7, and now we can look for, you know, ways to exploit the fact that the black position is just completely tied up. The bishop on b5 is an absolute monster. We can go bishop g3. We can go maybe just simply rook ac1. We can go maybe knight a4. There's all kinds of things you can try here. I think there's absolutely no question that despite being a pawn down, it's only white that fights for advantage here. It's a completely risk-free position, which you sort of never, ever lose. And had something like this happened, you know, we would have had, I think, a completely different match on our hands. But instead, Daniel played knight a4. I assume his intention was he thought allowing knight d7, c5, because once again, let's go one ply back before knight a4. I can see the reasoning for knight a4, because obviously the only real productive move black has here is knight d7, c5. That's a move you kind of want to make, and then sort of you proceed from there. Maybe knight e4 later, trying to offload some pieces of the board, or knight fd7 or something. And knight a4 does do a decent job currently of stopping knight c5, because it puts pressure on the b6 pawn. But if we look at the position 3 moves later, black goes knight d5, of course, because white has taken his eye of that square. Very importantly, bishop f3 played, and now black tactically can still play knight c5, because bishop takes d5, knight takes a4, the knight attacks the queen on b2 first. So Daniel ended up having to play knight takes c5, rook takes c5, and suddenly it's quite clear that, you know, only black can be better, because the second rook is coming to c8, the c6 square is completely covered. In fact, some kind of knight c3 ideas will start becoming quite annoying for white. And in general, there's just not many productive ideas you can even name in a position like this. And Daniel ended up playing knight c6, basically admitting that he will have to hold some kind of a position, a pawn down somewhere, and ended up not holding it. And that, I think, set the tone for the entire match, because against somebody like Hikaru, you really can very ill afford to lose a game with the white pieces. It's just very, very difficult to come back from that. Game 2 was also a little bit of an opening disaster, but I think the problems Daniel faced in this match all stem from the fact that he lost a very pleasant, fairly risk-free position with the white pieces in Game 1, and normally he wouldn't do that, putting it mildly.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Yeah, I think psychologically, a loss like this is very painful. It's more painful in some aspects than games where, like, you're pressing, have this advantage, and it doesn't quite work out, or you think you were winning. When you feel like you shouldn't lose ever and you end up losing,
losing games like this is very, it's a tough pill to swallow, because you know that you potentially you could have blown a full point here, not just a half a point, but potentially a full point. And also, how much confidence your opponent will gain from this if we take this as a little bit, this is a heads up, and psychological aspects of heads up play, if we could term it that, are very important. So not only have you done something that you really did not want to do, you also gave your opponent additional self-belief, and yeah, none of that is good news when that happens.
Yeah.
And I think Game 2, if we could just briefly take a look at Game 2, and your favorite Philidor has been played in Game 2, and it looks like the start of the game has disappeared, but we can just go to move 13. It starts from move 13, and we don't really need previous play. This is about as poor a Philidor as I have seen in recent times. And considering the fact that Daniel is one of the most interesting theoreticians working in sort of any field these days, for him to get such a poor position out of the opening, into which, I mean, he's on the record as saying that he invested quite a bit of time and energy into making Philidor work. For him to get a position like this out of the Philidor by move 13, once again, I don't like the genre of psychoanalyzing somebody I haven't spoken to after the match or anything like that. But it feels to me like this is still him, coming to terms with losing Game 1 and really not playing anywhere near his best. But he did get Game 3 under his belt, and I keep on coming back to that as why I think he has a decent shot today. Winning Game 3, which was a bit of a theoretical battle, I think I've seen somewhere, I didn't check with the database, but I think maybe even up to move 20 bishop f4. This is a Gelfand game from a couple of years back against, for some reason I want to say Romain Edouard, but I don't want to be misleading. I could be wrong on that topic. So that was a bit of a theoretical discussion, which Daniel ended up ahead on, and his conversion, it is against Romain Edouard from the European clubs in 2017, and from a certain point on, the conversion, I think, was handled really, really well by Daniel. And just generally a very well played game. And it's not easy to win positions like this against a player of Hikaru's caliber, even if the positions are national teams, not clubs. Apologies. Even if the position is very, very good, it is still quite difficult to win them.
Yeah.
So he will have gained a decent amount of confidence from that.
But it was always an uphill struggle, wasn't it, when he had to then win on demand again with the back pieces, you know.
Yeah, he did get a promising position, actually. Hikaru was quite clearly playing it very, very safe. And if we get to a position somewhere around, let's say, move 22, I think structurally, once this bishop on g3 gets exchanged off, it's just a very comfortable position for black. The problem is you have to play it sharply for a win. You can't play it, with a draw in the back pocket, just taking very few risks, improving your position gradually and hoping it will be enough, because it's a must-win game. So I think in the attempt to kind of sharpen the position up and give Hikaru some rope to hang himself, Daniel allowed this counterplay with knight e5, knight h5, queen g4, and it turned out, I guess, to be stronger than he expected. And once you have to start playing bishop g5, bishop f6, it does feel that things have gone ever so slightly off the rails here.
Yeah, and Daniel tried to keep some pieces on, but it was never going to be, it's never enough here as black. And once the queens come off, he already accepted his fate.
Yeah, somewhere here, you're not winning anymore. And Hikaru offered a draw in a position where he could have legitimately continued for a while. He's a pawn up in the rook endgame, but obviously with nothing at stake and a draw being enough to win the first set, a draw offer is perfectly reasonable here. So that's sort of the state of play from yesterday. Very much, I think, turned on that one game. In game one. And we do come back once again to the fact that Hikaru starts with white today. And Daniel needs to make sure that this game goes okay. I don't think he needs to play it, all in for a win or anything like that. But he does need to make sure he comes out of the opening with a playable position and nothing bad happens to him, because otherwise it could be quite a problematic situation for him.
Agreed. I think he needs to come out the gate. Normally, he doesn't have to fire on all cylinders. Of course, if he gets a position where he can press with black, that would be a huge bonus. But I think for him, if I was his coach or his teammate, I would be saying to him, look, Daniel, I think the most important thing is, let's just get off the mark, get on the scoreboard, no drama, and see if we can take our chances as the match.
I think that's very fair. Yeah, I think he needs to establish some sort of a control over the proceedings here, and go from there. So the matches are going to kick off in about 5 minutes. As always, it's our turn and our time to talk to you about what the special offer / feature is for today. Of course, this entire tournament, throughout the entire tournament, we've been celebrating the heritage of chess by focusing on the tournament, the players from the tournament and where they're from. So we've looked from Armenia to Russia to lots of different places. How beautiful this game and how rich this game has been for centuries. And today the focus is that of Ali Reza Firouzja and the Iranian chess heritage. Now, I believe there is a claim that chess actually did come from Iran originally. We'll get people who will be able to educate us more on that. Perhaps even if you go to chess24.com/tour, there will be a more in-depth write-up about that. But it's a very exciting time for chess, with Ali Reza, who of course originally comes from Iran, currently plays under the FIDE flag. Nevertheless, a super talent, a genius, no question, only 16 years old, already fighting it out with the best in the world. He's going to be a permanent fixture at the top level. And he's an extremely exciting player to watch, as we've already seen. Good at pretty much every discipline, from classical right the way down to blitz and bullet. And there'll be a really nice write-up there on chess24.com/tour. I suggest you all go and check that out. It will be very, very interesting indeed. Remember also that you can still get 2 months for the price of one as a premium member
by using the discount code DOUBLE during checkout, chess24.com/premium. Going premium gets you access to the entire video library, hundreds, if not thousands of hours of videos, training videos from some of the best authors in the world. Svidler, Gustafsson, Yusupov, Dvoretsky, the list goes on, in many languages as well. And when you become premium, also the ads are removed, which is something I know I enjoy. And as we've seen, so many top players doing these banter blitzes. Just the other day, Alexander Grishchuk, I think he did his for the very first time on Chess24. If you want to play the former Blitz world champion, the best players ever from Russia, players of that caliber, you have to be premium and you get a chance to play them. This is a dream for some people. So make sure. And last but not least, remember, you becoming premium actually directly supports this tournament. It allows us to put on this tournament. The money does not grow on trees, and your support is actually very, very much appreciated.
You're telling me this now?
Yeah, well, I did look outside looking for a few 20 bills, but I didn't see anything, Peter. So
I don't know how I'm able to continue the show. This is a blow.
no, but on a serious note, we do thank absolutely everybody in these very difficult times as well who are able to contribute and support the site. It's really appreciated. So thank you so much. And of course, we plan to do many, many more tournaments like this to keep us all entertained when, I don't know about in St. Petersburg now, but we're kind of in semi-lockdown here. What's the situation there in St. Petersburg?
I think the restrictions are supposedly about to become slightly lessened, but from what I hear, the situation is still quite problematic. So for us personally, we're staying in. We do our regular expeditions to get more food, but apart from that, not very much is happening. Yeah.
Understood. Okay. Well, we've got literally 1 minute to go until they kick off. As always, Peter, you know, I can't help myself. I have to do a predictions round. It's just...
Sure. Let's do all 4 games if we assume there will be 4 games. Let's do like a hardcore course today.
Okay. So Hikaru, White, game 1. I'm going...
Yeah.
What are you doing, Peter?
I am listening to you, but you've disappeared, so I don't know if you've actually... Well, not disappeared exactly, but you were silent. If you've actually taken all 4 results,
No. I took game 1 draw. I thought we were doing it.
Okay, we're doing it game by game. Okay, game 1 draw. Yeah, okay, game 1 draw.
Okay, game 2, Daniel. You know what? 1-0. Let's liven it up a little.
Yeah, I was going to do that, but if we just keep on parroting each other, it's not going to be very exciting. So I'll take draw.
Game 3. So game 3, 1-0. Hikaru comes straight back.
Okay, I'll take draw again, and I'll take Dubov in game 4.
Okay.
And we have moves up, so
let's go straight there.
Yep. Whoa, a kind of a delayed Alapin, which will become a pure Alapin in a moment. But
yeah,
interesting choice by Hikaru. I haven't seen him play very many Alapins.
And Bishop C4. So one of the main lines, Knight B6, Bishop B3, and this is
this could get very, very interesting, or it could be very solid. It very much depends on, I think, on Black, because C4 Queen C7 lines, they do get quite exciting. But I think the feeling currently is Black doesn't equalize. I remember when those lines just appeared, I was very excited to play them with Black. I won a very nice game against Miki once in the World Cup, playing C4 Queen C7 G5. But I think the efforts of, I want to say perhaps Sergei Tivikov in particular have, E6, I think, and then Knight takes G5. I think the current thinking is this is slightly better for White somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel goes with c4 followed by d5, which is a little bit of, it's a more conservative option. And also, isn't this what Anand played against in Grenke Chess 2019? There was a very, very nice victory by Vishy against, who was it? Possibly Paco. Or, no, maybe Georg Meyer? Some really strange position where black sacrificed in exchange in a beautiful fashion later on. Obviously, all of this it's possible to look these things up. So I apologize for asking the questions when I think we should be answering them instead.
Okay, ED6, Queen D6 on the board and castles. So yeah, I have absolutely no idea about the theory of this line.
Yeah, I think Bishop G4, and it sometimes becomes incredibly sharp because the bishop gets pushed to H5, and then I think in that game somehow at some point Black had the bishop on H5 and pawns on G6 and F5, kind of defending against the G2 G4 push, and it became very, very sharp and very tactical quite quickly. So, if I'm not mistaken, this is sort of cutting-edge lapping theory with very double-edged prospects. As a matter of fact, quite interesting.
Okay, very interesting. I would even go as far to say, who's going to be more well prepared? We've already seen Daniel Dubov throughout this entire tournament unleash some absolute core. I mean, really interesting. New, new, but not, the big example, of course, was this game in the Scandinavian against Sergei Karyakin. I mean, whoever hasn't seen that game, go back and look at that, because that was an absolutely stunning performance by Daniel. Whether it's objectively completely sound what he's doing is not really.
Okay, I got things slightly wrong. It wasn't Grenke Chess. It was Vike 2018 and a game against Gawain Jones. That makes a bit more sense because Georg Meyer obviously never plays the Lapin. So I just as I was saying that, I thought, what am I like? This makes no sense. What am I talking about? But Gawain does, and yeah, that game was quite exciting. But we've already departed those shores because Gawain played. After Bishop G4, H3, Bishop H5, Rook E1, and Queen E2. Queen E2 is not a new move by any means, but we are in different territory now. This has been played by Tivikov himself against Anand, but some time ago in 2010.
And interestingly, we castles long on the board. So Daniel not actually going the sort of strategic route that I certainly would have maybe thought he would have done. Looks as though he's going for it straight from the off, not just trying to settle in, just saying, you know what, I need to put him under pressure psychologically, get the upper hand.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice, and notably, Vishy did not play long castles. He played Queen E6, and I think equalized quite comfortably. But Queen E6 is, of course, a more conservative option there instead of castling long. And Knight A3. This is a typical, like the storyline of these positions, if we can call it that, is the fight for Black tries to keep the pawn on C4 alive for as long as possible, and White wants to undermine it, perhaps trade it by playing B3. And if let's say B3, CB3, AB3 happens, White then gets to play D2, D4, assume control, gets a kind of a large presence in the center, and is generally quite a bit better. But obviously, Daniel will have something to say about that.
What's happening?
Oh, we're joined by none other than the man himself.
The man himself, indeed.
The man from Uncle?
The man from Uncle. Jan Gustafsson, you look exhausted. How are you?
Exhausted? I'm great. Just came back from the gym, had a shower, put on my most controversial tie. I'm in a great mood. You think I'd be ready to take that Thai heat if I was even the slightest bit tired? No, this is a big day.
You went to the gym.
Yeah, gyms reopened, barbershops. I'm so glad this pandemic is finally over.
Exactly. Exactly. Good news for all of us.
Yeah.
So the queens have come off, but we shouldn't really despair at all. It's a very, very sharp endgame, which I think these types of endgames you could very fairly describe as middle games without queens. This is not really an endgame yet. Daniel is playing reasonably quickly, but I think we've spoken about this before, and if we haven't, this has to be mentioned. He is, generally speaking, of the very strong players playing right now. I think he is one of the more capable of just successfully bluffing that he knows something. And with him, no amount of blitzing will be convincing me entirely that he knows what's happening. I still suspect it's very
Daniel, but he actually knows stuff.
No, of course he does, which makes the bluffs even more convincing. With somebody who you don't suspect of having any opening knowledge, when you surprise him with something in the opening and he blitzes things regardless, you just think, yeah, he's pretending. There's no way he's ever looked at any of this stuff. But in Daniel's case, I think it's very possible that occasionally, at least, he will be just projecting this impression.
Wow, I already have a heated controversy 1 minute into the show. I was joking. The pandemic is not over. Stay safe. Oh boy. Lawrence, what happened? The people are no longer used to being ironic.
Well, I was going to say, if you're new to the show and you hadn't heard of Jan Gustafsson before this, just because his voice is monotone does not mean he doesn't throw in the odd joke here or there. And takes a bit of time to get used to the sarcasm, but it does exist. He was, of course, just joking. People.
Yeah, thanks for introducing me. I am dead inside, but that does not mean I can communicate normally.
This looks great for black. Let's just talk about the position here. Isn't this one?
I think it very much depends on takes, and knight g5. Although I suspect f6 and king f6, knight e6, you cannot play king d7. I don't know how much of a problem that is, though.
Why don't you go knight d8 there?
Knight d8 is stronger. Yeah, I blanked on the fact that the square has been opened by the departing rook.
As long as you're sorry, it's okay. How's the position? Isn't black fine?
I love black's position. No, it's a sort of position where if you just are able to consolidate e6, bishop x, bishop on c5, aren't you going to be like slightly better / thinking about pushing suddenly? Feels like that.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. If we don't take on d3, if we play something like bishop b3, e6, it also doesn't look that threatening for black, right?
You gotta take it.
Okay, so takes.
Take it till you make it. Bishop out.
Okay.
Oh no, bishop out looks a little silly. Maybe f6 even.
Probably white's going to go rook e3 at some point to try and maybe takes rook e3 is interesting. To try and
yeah, that might equalize, but yeah, I don't think there's much question of white.
No,
white being better.
Yeah, I'm trying to equalize here as white. I don't see any reason.
So it's curious because Hikaru went for this rather confidently, but it doesn't look like he has all that great of a position. Just rook d7 followed by e6 here, I suspect, right? Rook takes e3 is not horrible, but I don't really see any particular reason why we should be straightening out the white structure.
Even after rook d7, d4, you can even think about. No, you can't.
No, I think we start with e6. We don't need to defend to
do anything fancy.
Do anything particularly fancy. E6, bishop d6, king b8, rook c8, or b6, king b7, rook c8. It looks very comfortable. White isn't really, doing all that poorly or anything, but
Of course he is. These pawns are weak.
Exactly. Isn't it a position you can just drift very easily in here with white? Feels
yeah,
like
I honestly I don't disagree actually. Yeah, I think that's right.
suddenly a knight lands on c4 and there's a bishop on a3 and the rook's on c8 and the king's on b7 and you're just...
I guess it depends if white isn't time to mobilize. No, bishop b2, c4, some d5. Because if black got everything he wanted, knight a5, bishop d6, king b8, rook c8, of course he'd be pressing, but it's not so clear he managed.
Yeah, maybe some very quick play, specifically starting with bishop b2 as Jan said there. Bishop b2 hoping to get some kind of c4, rook d1, d5 play. In that respect, maybe we actually don't play bishop d6. Maybe we play bishop b7, rook h d8, and we are then quite happy to meet c4 with bishop f6.
Right.
That might be a bit more flexible from the black side. Yeah. Curious outcome of the opening, to be honest, because it seemed to me like it was quite clearly Hikaru sort of pushing the action here in terms of who is calling the opening shots, who is choosing what the position will look like out of the opening. And I struggle to figure out why this is something you would choose. Hikaru goes bishop a3, which is maybe sensible, just get the bishops off the board. But I think, yeah, you should be slightly worse after just d6, bishop f8, rook f8. I think most people would just prefer black in that structure.
What in the business we call hanging pawns. And they're called that because
they often
one
hang.
of them cannot be defended by a fellow pawn. So if you put this pawn from a to b to b2, white will be slightly better. But it's not allowed. Because the rules are pawns move forward and capture sideways. So even a takes b3 would help. But it's unlikely to. e5 played by Dubov.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Yeah, and he's claiming that this ending is actually not as easy for white to draw as because the rook is kind of condemned to the a2 to the defense of the a2 pawn, and rook a1 never works because there's back rank checkmates. So this is already like okay, rook 6 f8. I don't expect Hikaru to take on e5. And if black a chance.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that the rook endgames generally are supposed to be very close to equal. And I think I would actually be tempted to take on e5 and hope that because it is an equal material rook ending and the rook on e5 is reasonably active and maybe I can create enough counterplay. Just take on e5, accept that I will be worse, but assume that it's holdable and just bail in this way. Because, like, let's say we play, I don't know, h4, black plays f6. I don't know why I chose h4. This is probably not the position for the old, Alpha Zero style march up the board with the h pawn. But yeah, this structure is just plain unpleasant. Rook fd8, b6, king b7. Then at some point the knight will go to either, I don't know, e5, c4 or e7, f5 or somewhere. You're just not going to be enjoying this very much. Then again, the rook endgame you probably aren't going to be enjoying very much either. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird dilemma here that Hikaru is faced with.
Yeah, and Daniel off to the kind of start he was looking for. He's playing risk-free. He's got the black pieces. He might be able to put on a little bit of pressure here. And again, a fantastic opening choice, and looks as though his homework is done. And talking about why on earth would you go h4, Peter? How dare you?
Yeah, that's kind of curious. That is kind of curious. I don't quite know what to think about that.
Can I give my honest opinion on this move?
Please, don't hold back.
Don't like it.
Shocker.
Don't like it. Optically, might be a good move, but like if I was going to do any pawn move there, it'd be g4.
I don't know. I think h4, h5 just generally is something that people gravitate towards these days. Like, in some extremely optimistic scenarios, you might want to get knight h4, f5 in. The thing is, your backward g2 pawn probably will not allow you to do that. But knight h4, f5 also. Now he will play like king f1, king e2, put the rook on d1, and then hope that he gets to play knight h4. I guess that's his point. And
Maybe
if
rook
you go
h1, rook h4, bring the rook.
Yeah, knight h4, rook g3 as well is something that that could be, because we did create a slightly weakened pawn on, well, not weakened, but a pawn that is sort of a little bit disjointed. There is far away from its friends and relations. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know exactly what I think about this.
b6. Wants to go king b7.
I guess, yeah, it's the usual kind of a sort of general all-purpose useful move. Don't know how useful it actually is, but
Yeah. Okay, it's probably too early for direct action like knight a5, because I don't know. Do we get d4?
I don't think allowing d4 is that great for now. I was curious about just playing g5 and asking white to open the h file straight away, and then perhaps we could. But I would, if we're doing this, I would probably actually do it on the previous move. It doesn't really gel all that well with rook fd8. Just play h5 g5 here. I thought that wasn't that stupid, actually. I thought that was semi-reasonable.
I don't want to get too elitist, but you're aware I can take, right?
Yeah, I am. Well, depending obviously on whether the software cooperates, but
Yeah.
occasionally you can take for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting option for sure. Looks like Daniel is sort of, making small micro improvements, hoping that the fruit will ripen in its own accord. g3 surprised me because it takes away this option that you mentioned of putting the rook there, and I'm not sure what it does for the greater good.
Okay, so let's think now what to do, because we've kind of achieved what we wanted to here with black. So the question is how now to improve the boys. Knight a5 is always in the air, obviously.
Also, should we remark on the sequence of king f1, g3, king g2?
Yeah, what is that all about?
I think that feels like it's something that is worth remarking upon.
Yeah, that is very odd, given that he could have gone at g3, king g2 immediately. He's wasted a full move. Now, is that going to be critical or not? Knight e7 and rook e4 on the board. So, he wanted to meet d4 with knight f5, of course, hitting the rook and the pawn. So now, if knight f5, g4, knight d6, is that what he wants to do? Probably. Or maybe he wants to put the knight on d5 here and just claim that you can never...
I don't think it does very much on d5, though.
d5 looks misplaced. No, we need it to be more jumpy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
5, knight c8.
I like knight f5. Yeah, I think, choosing between knight f5 and knight c8, it almost always has to be knight f5, right? He goes with rook d3 first. I guess he wants to make sure he doesn't actually have to calculate d2, d4 at any point. Also,
so
sort
sure
of makes sense.
Do we go back to c6? Let's go back.
Yeah, that's
d5,
a classic.
f5, e4. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Here we
classic.
go.
Yeah. No, he knows his Ulf Anderson, does Daniel Dubov.
Also, his Karpov. Always forget what you played like 2 moves ago. That has nothing to do with the position. You think knight 6 is the best move? Who cares that you just played knight 6 to e7?
I agree. Yeah, now there's no d4. I really like this by Daniel. Really, really enjoying this.
And as our dear friend Niels Grandelio points out, a4 feels risky because also weakening the b3 square, inviting some knight a5, knight b3, some rook d5, rook a5. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
might
so
have
sure
to
about
play.
a4.
You might have to play g4 here, and Hikaru disagrees because I think f5 e4 was maybe a legitimate threat already. So he goes rook e2, sidestepping it. But yeah, it feels to me like Black made a decent amount of progress here. King a6, a5 even becomes part of the conversation in some cases. Rook d5, a5, and b5. Yeah, I'm really liking this for.
In the German
Daniel.
chess school, we call this the principle of two weaknesses. Pawns on d2 and a4. And usually you can defend one weakness. But two, it's very tough.
Fair.
Yeah, knight a5 on the board by Daniel. Makes total sense. This is a bit of a disaster for Hikaru.
Hikaru drifting a bit, yeah? Okay, the opening, you don't have anything. But also after that, he has not played with his usual...
Panache.
Panache is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, it's not really all that impressive. I think maybe there is some kind of crossing the wires on the topic of what he wanted to achieve out of the opening here. Maybe he was slightly torn between playing for advantage and playing for equality, and ended up playing for neither really.
Uh-oh. Beware horsey moves. That's maybe a little transparent.
Yeah, knight c4 does look like it does more for now. It just kind of stalemates white completely. If we look at the
It's so
position after
tempting
knight
to
c4,
go for the fork. No, he's not tempted.
No, knight c4 is the move. G4.
G4. Do you go h6?
Yeah.
and now we can actually reroute it back. Like I'm not even entirely joking. Like it would be in the spirit of Daniel to just go knight a5, c6, c7, d5, f4.
Oh wow!
Because that square is now very attractive.
Oh,
that is a very nice target square. I'm not like it's 5 moves. He's not going to do it.
Yeah,
but
c4 is pretty nice too.
Yeah, considering that he's already gone back and forth with his knights more than once, I wanted to mention this as a kind of a fun sequence.
That would be quite something, no?
Yeah, it would be an interesting way to proceed here for sure, but probably not great if we're honest.
Rook d5. I like this move as well. Planning to maybe meet g5 with f5.
Maybe. Oops.
Yeah, that would be the sort of mouse slip you don't want to do.
Yeah, that's
at this stage in the
costly.
tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, g5, f5 seems like asking for trouble, no?
Yeah, this is gorgeous, Daniel Dubov.
So how do you improve further? Do you bring the king? Maybe you bring the king to like, central squares too. Oof. Not a fun position to defend. Nothing moves
it's
anymore.
gross, isn't it? It's really not pleasant.
You're almost in Zugzwang, no? Like rook
Yeah,
c2.
That's what I was
I
saying.
bring my king to a5. We're
you
really
really are kind of running out of moves here, extremely quickly.
And Hikaru goes for broke. He goes knight h4, realizing all of that, of course. Says, I must find some counterplay, even at the cost of a pawn.
But rook takes d2. He thinks that this knight ending is gonna.
He does have counterplay there. Yeah, he takes on d2, goes knight f5, and the g7 pawn is a little bit weak.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go a5. No, a5.
Here?
School of chess. Yes.
Wow. Anton.
That is good. Yeah, a5 followed by b5, and the a pawn probably queens. That's quite smart.
Thank you.
Amazing vision.
Vision in general is a very useful tool.
Wow. Within the last 2 minutes, we've been accused of being biased towards Hikaru because we didn't criticize his opening enough. And now to be biased towards Daniel, because it's not the better position and it feels anti-Naka. So hard to please everyone. Lawrence, how do you manage?
Well, I just prefer to annoy everybody. Rather than everybody, just don't please anybody, and then nobody can complain.
Yeah, that I think is the right way to go here.
By the way, it looks like this is happening. This looks like
well, I think Hikaru will spot this. I think Hikaru realizes he probably needs to keep at least one pair on. Well, I mean, he's not going to keep two pairs on the board because Black clearly has a trade whenever he wants. But you might have to play Knight f5 here. But now I think, yeah, Daniel probably takes on a2, goes g6.
So 97, Knight g6.
Why?
Yeah, but we go Rook d3, c3, and we are still better, right? You could also just go Rook d7 here and then play g6 next move. I think it's probably not horrible either. But yeah, this position is still much better for Black. I mean, it's a reasonably healthy extra pawn.
Yeah, the horsey is still pretty well placed.
Yeah, knight e7. Now that I look at it, knight e7 is a little bit annoying here with the knight d5 threat. But I have a feeling in good hands this is probably closer to a win than to a draw. Good hands.
What else is there? We could just...
Yeah. Drop back, prepare g6, maybe go king 6, c5 for now. Because it's very difficult for white to generate anything at all here. Maybe even a5, b5, ab, king b6, just start pushing our own agenda on the queen side.
Hang on, Neil says some ideas. Rook d7.
Rook d7, g7. Clever.
Cunning.
Clever. Neil's good at chess.
That's why they call him the beast from the east. Niels Grandelius.
The east of what exactly?
East Copenhagen.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Does he live in East Copenhagen? I guess he does.
Copenhagen, I know. I'm just assuming the east part.
Yeah, he's gone g6 immediately. He's seen this fantastic idea. Very nice.
Yeah, I think this heavily indicates that he has seen that tactical shot, and no, that would make it very, very exciting for if this is a reverse of yesterday, if Daniel starts by winning with Black in game 1, we're in for a wild ride here. Takes knight e7 played. Yeah, if he goes Rook d7 here, he is very, very heavily favored to win, I think.
And Niels points out that I was absolutely correct, that he lives in the eastern part of Western Copenhagen. Thanks, Niels. That's what we thought.
Eastern part of Western Copenhagen. Knight g8 played. I think it's a sensible choice because knight g6, Rook g7 just looked horrible. But here Black plays f5, and he is presenting a very, very small target on the king's side. Yeah, this is, I think, is going to be very, very difficult to save.
Awful Hangover is asking, is Dubov a stronger version of Joe Bava? I would not think they're the same category of player. Maybe an earlier Joe Bava style-wise, like 2004 Joe Bava, who was a big opening researcher, but Dubov is very dependent on very serious work on chess, while Joe Bava is more associated with, being a free spirit, sticking to his creative openings, which I don't think is Dubov's main.
I think the way this comparison kind of holds up is that, both of them are incredibly gifted.
Yeah, everyone's great at chess. Let's get that out of the way.
But yeah, I think there's a large, just don't play knight d6, Rook d2, king c6 here, Daniel, and you're fine. I guess knight d6, Rook d2, Rook g6 wins though. Knight d6 in general looks like it wins, apart from that
This
blunder,
would be
which you should not be.
Unfortunate.
Which you should not be committing here, yeah. Most assuredly.
So what did you want to do? Knight d6?
And Rook g6, I
Rook
thought,
G6.
but then knight f7 exists. Although you are probably not saving this Rook endgame even, but probably not allowing it is smarter. Yeah, he goes Rook g5.
Daniel goes Rook g5.
I'm not sure what I think about this.
What do you think about it?
I don't understand why we're letting the knight out of the cage towards the f7 squares, but maybe he just goes knight f7, rook h5 or something, and then calmly goes king c7 next move, and it's out of squares again. I don't know. It's a little bit strange to me. It's a little bit strange to me that he's doing it this way, but I think it's almost impossible to let go of all of your advantage here.
Yeah, rook h5 played.
Yeah, as long as you don't go completely crazy here, you're still going to be winning because you have a healthy extra pawn, and your light pieces are stronger than your opponents. Like everything about this position is great.
That'd be big for Daniel. No, we talked yesterday about how giant advantages in this format to win the first game with the black pieces, and if he did that, it would certainly mean that day 3 of this finals all of a sudden becomes a favorite.
Yeah, I think that should be a fair description. And
Grandmaster Eric Lobron, greetings. First of all, he's saying what Daniel is doing looks fine. I agree.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly fine. I just thought that there might be something cleaner, but looking at this, nothing has been lost. If white goes king e2, we probably go e4 because we. Yeah, rook h3 also good, but yeah, just locking it in with e4 seems logical. Maybe f4, f3 even becomes a topic. Hikaru goes king g3
to stop this. Now do we bring the king?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, something like king c6 is fine. I also would maybe want to play a5, just to reinforce the idea of one day playing b5, ab king b6, and just starting to push the a pawn.
I don't know. I'd like to bring the king. Also, it freaks me out a bit on b7. Not Daniel, though. He's so concrete. He goes rook h7.
Rook h7, I guess knight g5, rook d7 is what he wants. Just land it on d3. And
No. He wants to go rook g7, force the king to h4, then go.
No, I think white quite happily plays f4.
Yeah, rook d7 played.
Oh.
Looks pretty good too.
Allow e4 there? Okay.
King h4.
Done it anyway. So now, how excited are we about going rook d2? I'm with the similar idea to before going a5 and b5. He rejects it. Rook d3, king h5, trying to get him round the back, but of course this has to be hopeless, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt black is winning. I mean, it's 2 pawns and white. I mean, you could make an argument this is the best position Hikaru has seen in a while because at least the king will get to some good squares, and black will have to start worrying a little bit about protecting some of his stuff. But 2 pawns up in the rook and knight endgame, you very rarely aren't winning. It has to be a very, very specific set of circumstances.
Daniel with plenty of time as well. I mean, 4.5 minutes is just ample time to figure out what he wants to do. Does he want to take on c3? Does he want to play king c6? What else?
Could you see yourself running into a heartbreaking last-minute knight fork here, Lawrence, after you did everything well?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the story of my life, Jan, as you very well know.
Knights are so tricky.
Yeah.
I'd be on high alert until I queen at least one of my pawns.
Yeah, and it's understandable that he's taking a little bit of a pause here to make sure that he's not missing anything. I mean, the way the white knight is positioned, I'm wondering if we are kind of winning by force here if we go rook d2, which is maybe something that he's trying to calculate here. Rook d2, I think white is obliged to take because obviously you cannot give up the pawn on f2. Takes. I think white probably goes king g6, and we play a5, king f5, b5.
Wow, it's so committal though.
Yeah, but like you really have to convince yourself. You really have to convince yourself you need this somehow, and I think it will be very difficult to do.
Yeah.
King h6 looks like a mouse slip. I think resignation.
Wow.
resignation might be in order after that. Just like shame concede.
Yeah.
Shame concede
See
after
it.
playing.
Look at him. You can see Hikaru in the camera here. He's laughing because it's just, of course, nobody in their right mind would play King H6. Is it the first?
Yeah, and before I get into hot water, when I use the term shame concede, I don't mean, you know, anything shameful happened, but I'm just very used to that vernacular. Yeah, I mean, obviously nobody goes King H6, King 6, King G6. I have not seen Hikaru commit a mouse slip like this, maybe ever. Honestly.
Yeah, because he had 5 minutes. So I mean, it's very uncharacteristic. I don't think it would have changed the result of the game, to be honest. But still,
Yeah, very unlikely, but nonetheless. Even under severe time pressure, I think Hikaru is mechanically always very, very correct and doesn't do these things. Yeah, but in a way, it's good that it happened in this position because, you know, if you do something like this in an unclear position and it turns like a half a point or maybe even a potential full point into a loss, there it really hurts. In a position like this, you've kind of, I think, made peace with the fact that you're probably losing anyway. So you can just kind of giggle the way he did there, and well, maybe not giggle, but smirk a little, and just move on. If there was more life in the position, and that would be quite an unpleasant situation to come to terms with.
So
Yeah. Now he is 3 down with no real counterplay. So
mouse slip is less painful if you're dead lost anyway, but it's quite painful if it costs you a point or something.
that's the crux of the argument I was making.
3 pawns.
Yeah, it's and nothing really is falling either. It's not as if, you know, Black's position is full of some mysterious weaknesses.
Knight on e4 is quite stable, but that won't save the day.
no. 3 pawns are 3 pawns.
Is that a saying in East London?
Not quite. But yeah, Daniel can do anything here. King b6, rook a3, anything.
Yeah, there's really
it's
no
hard
play
to
left here.
spoil that one.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how Niels feels about this, but if you have 3 pawns up, it's pretty good. Because even if you were to blunder a pawn, then Niels, you'd still be 2 pawns up, right? And Niels is no longer there. He's the best statistician I know on these matters. It's very good to consult. Rook to d1 plate. Is there any trick like b4, rook c1? But that's
King
not really
b5, 4, yeah. No, there's not. I mean, I think Hikaru just continues because he's a firm believer in you know, trying until there's absolutely no chance left. But this is one of those positions where chances are kind of purely theoretical.
So, nah, I won't troll that. Niels is confirming my theory. Thanks, Niels. Saying good analysis, I fully approve.
Oh, Niels. I hope you're well, Niels, wherever you are. It's been
He's in Copenhagen. Of course he's well.
been a while since we've seen Niels.
It's been a while since we've seen anybody.
I know, but Niels, he's got a very infectious laugh. Anybody who has had the honor and pleasure of meeting Niels Grandelius will know that he's got a very unique laugh. And I miss that laugh. Niels, send me a recording of that laugh. Is that weird? It's probably weird.
Keep going, keep going.
Yeah, I'll stop digging. Knight b6 on the board.
anything else you would like to see on that?
No, I'm
recording?
good. I'm just waiting for this game to close out so we can move on. Basically. Hikaru will have black in the next game, guys. Are we?
Speaking of recording, did I see some tweet of yours, topless, where you were bragging about being in a call with many famous people?
No, that wasn't why. Oh goodness, no. Plus,
Just a happy coincidence.
Peter, can you?
Peter's muted. Peter's been muted for a while. I'm not sure if on purpose or not.
Okay, let's.
Yeah, it was originally on purpose, yes. But yeah, there were some happy coincidences involved in the making of that tweet. Let's put it like that. But
it was a joyous moment, that's for sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was a time of joy and celebration.
Yeah, it had nothing to do really with the people. You could have just gone out onto the streets of Berlin and picked 6 other people. Probably would have celebrated in a similar way.
And I hear that's what you do quite
no.
often. No, there you go.
No, maybe not.
Find 6
maybe
people
not.
and
A
celebrate.
little bit sweeter with the guys involved. It was just a little bit sweeter, but.
I hear you.
Right.
And Niels Grandelius is bringing up the big question. The big question for the next game, will Dubov try to go to +2 or is he content with +1? And this time, Niels is not trolling. That is a very relevant strategic question that we've seen answered differently over these matches. No, I think Magnus took a quick draw when he was up +1 with the black pieces. Against Wesley, for example. Hikaru didn't against Dubov. He went up to +2. And of course, your opponent has something to do with it as well. But it's still a bit of a choice you can make. No, do you play it tight with the white pieces, or do you try to win?
Yeah, I think for Daniel, I would actually recommend he plays normally, and for him, normally is extremely sharp and very much playing for a win, because I think he is one of those people who I wouldn't call him like. There are people who are actually kind of constitutionally incapable of playing like for a draw in the old understanding of what playing for a draw means. I don't think he is one of those, but
didn't look great when he tried to against Kayaki, no? Even though he got very close until.
Yeah, exactly. I think he just plays worse when he tries to do that, and you know, in the current state of the match, it doesn't feel really required. So, and also like knowing Hikaru, there will be blowback in the next white game. So I think you want to have a bit of a security cushion, and you want to at least try to win the next one as well. So I expect a normal game with an ambitious continuation of some sort.
I don't know. I think you can make an argument for either. If you make a draw, you have 1.5. Doesn't look like you were having problems with black in your mainline c5, knight c6. So it's a tricky situation. The worst is if you try to do both, which is what subconsciously I think many people think. I'll try to play for a win, but without much risk, and then you're in this weird, not fish, not meat spot. That's a German expression, where sometimes you might make passive moves in positions that require active moves. So it will be interesting, but we're not there yet.
Not at all, no.
B5 on the board. This game is still going on somehow. I'm not really sure why. Just looks like B2 and B2.
Yeah, B2 followed by knight c4 and rook a1 is seemingly completely unstoppable. I'm also a little bit confused as to
B4.
why.
I like it. No knight forks.
Yeah, this is also
Fork the knight forks. Even though I'd like. This is where I reach the limits of my chess understanding, Niels, because we went from 3 pawns up to 1 pawn up, but it's a very powerful pawn. So how do we weigh these factors against each other? White takes. Okay, it's just game over.
Yeah, it should looks. I mean, it looks like anything that doesn't constitute a complete, blow up with huge blunders and things of that nature should just win very comfortably here. There's just no counterplay at all, and black is completely dominant.
I'm being told it's neither fish nor fowl, as we say.
Right.
Never heard that one. I don't even know what fowl is. It's
Fowl is like chickens.
Poultry, yeah.
Ah, okay. So that's where the expression "no harm, no foul" comes from.
Exactly, yeah.
Got it.
It's
Look,
a
A5.
poultry charge.
Wow.
Yes.
And Dubov wins. Why
Dubov
exactly
does
now
win.
after knight c3? Of course, it's still just winning. Rook c5 or like.
Any old move is probably good. Knight
Yeah, I'm just wondering what made him resign here. Rook c5 looks pretty good. And if the knight moves away, we have rook d5 check, rook d3, rook c4 check. Yeah, it's gone, baby, gone.
Yeah, a brilliant performance by Daniel Dubov. The mouse slip wasn't really going to change the result of the game. He did everything right. He got an opening where he, had clearly done some more work on this line, at least more recently. Hikaru was evidently trying to recall some of the positions he saw, but already after move sort of 12. Jan, if you want to, I'm a tiny bit.
Sorry, yeah, we're fighting over the mouse here. Apologies.
Yeah, no, it's not that. I'm just gonna give up the remote control here. Slowing things down. Yeah, after this already, this exchange b3, bishop d5, everything came off. Once the bishop got to d3.
What were these recent Jordan games? Fun for race against Dubov and so on.
Not I think in this precise position, at least, as far as I could determine. There was definitely some theory. Like there are a few Vichy games from this position, but no Jordan games that I saw.
No Jordan. All right. Yeah, looked like.
Yeah, and just around here, b3, bishop d5, everything came off. Once the bishop.
It's a dangerous structure for white. No, maybe it's already a dangerous structure. I don't know theory, but it feels that if you get here, you have to do something else. No, not just simplify. Can you grab the pawn? I guess Daniel knows all this stuff, so.
Well, you probably can, actually.
I don't know, it just feels like here we're positionally worse, like the way it went in the game. So we gotta do something else here.
Around that moment where I really felt it was a position where Hikaru could just drift. And Daniel got a commanding advantage positionally speaking. He had all the targets. He trained any ways for Hikaru to release the tension. It was a perfect game, actually, by Daniel Dubov. And now Hikaru is going to have to have a real think about how he definitely didn't envisage this start. Losing with white in the first game, how is he going to play now with black? Is he going to try and bounce back immediately? That could have really serious consequences, because if you go all out now and you lose, suddenly you're basically, I mean, the match is pretty much over, and then you have to go to day 3. I would expect a solid game here by Hikaru and for him to risk it with white again in game 3. That's my prediction. I don't think we're going to see anything outlandish by Hikaru here.
Yeah. It takes two to tango as well. Now both sides have to make these decisions on a per move basis. Will Daniel play one c4? Will he play one d4? Will Hikaru stick to his usual c4, e5, and d4 Queen's Gambit? Does he think it's time to dust off the old King's Indian? It's going to be very interesting to see.
I don't think he's going to play King's Indian against Daniel, actually. And I'm not sure how he feels about these Queen's Gambit declines against Daniel, who's always coming up with ideas. What's
Yeah,
wrong?
but his approach has pretty much been, I will play this against everybody, every game, and do your worst. It went well in game 1 against Daniel yesterday. Then when Daniel switched to c4, he was in more trouble. We'll see. In general, I had the feeling that Hikaru with black just says, you know what, I'll sit on my repertoire, you guys do your worst, and I will try to do my damage with white. But of course, it's different if you lose a white game, which I can't recall him losing a white game in like any of these events. Which
Yeah, he
always
doesn't. He
poor
doesn't
memory.
lose very many, or any at all, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what happens, of course. Remember, guys, you can be a premium member 2 months for the price of 1 using the code DOUBLE. And today is all about Ali Reza Firouzja. This tournament is about heritage and celebrating the history and just how rich and beautiful this game is and how it's developed over hundreds of years. Check out the article on chess24.com/tour about Ali Reza Firouzja, the phenom from Iran, playing under the FIDE flag now, and one of the hottest prospects in chess. And remember, if you do become premium, you will be able to actually use that straight away. Not only are you able to access the video library, but tonight we've got none other than World Championship finalist, hooligan football film fan extraordinaire, and one of the nicest guys you're likely to meet, Grandmaster Peter Lecco, doing a banter blitz. That's right, you will have the chance to play a former top 5 player in the world, somebody who was just a draw away from becoming world champion when he played Vladimir Kramnik in 2004. And his knowledge and I have rarely met a guy who knows so much about the game of chess as Peter Lecco. I mean, this is a guy that knows just about everything. Currently coaching Vincent Keimer. He's a font of knowledge, nothing more to say about it. And he'll be very, very interesting to listen to. That kicks off at 8:30 this evening. So get premium and play Lecco later today. Peter, would you agree with me? Peter Lecco, is there anything about chess he doesn't know, hasn't studied?
Not a lot, no. Not a lot. I think he is one of the absolutely top people in terms of breadth of knowledge. His opening knowledge is frankly just freakish. There are very, very little things he is not able to give a lecture on unprompted on occasions in detail. One of the most joyous experiences in recent years I've had was we had dinner one evening during Grenke Chess 2019, and to listen to Peter describe his 73 files on the Gioco piano, I think the number was. And complaining that there are so many various move orders that it's so difficult to organize into a system that it is then possible to access and understand, and how difficult it is to actually memorize all these things. And I'm making fun of it a little bit, but also not, because with him you actually do firmly believe that he probably will be able to recall most of it, and you do believe in the quality of the work, which would not be the case with everybody professing to have 73 files on any opening.
I don't think I even have one file on the Joko piano, let alone 73. I've got 73 files on the Jabava attack, though. Probably.
Yeah, I somehow don't doubt that.
I think we differ stylistically somewhat. Peter.
Is what you're trying to say here? Yeah, that you differ stylistically a little bit.
Yeah, no. And of course, if Daniil Dubov pulls it off today, now he's of course favorite to win the match overall today. Probably Peter will be here tomorrow as well to take you through the final day. But let's see if we get that. The players are back in their seats. Looks as though we are going to get liftoff, and we do. Daniil Dubov starting out with 1c4, a move he's played fairly often this tournament and with quite a bit of success. And we're going to go straight to the position where we have a 4 knights English standard, rook b1. Still been played many times before. What was it, a5, b5, knight, something like this?
Well, I played this yesterday, and Dubov sticks to his pet line, which is this b5, knight d4, e3, and Hikaru has worked on it. Deviates from rook to b8 to queen to c8, even though I think knight d5 might be the most critical move here. So, yeah, Dubov is saying, I can repeat my line and still ask you some questions. Nakamura had this line in a tournament game earlier. So let's see how many questions Dubov can ask here.
Yeah,
All
but
of this I would assume has been played before.
Yeah, it looks like both of them are reasonably sure of their preparation here, and I quite like this from Daniil because I think it's the combination, like it's the best of both worlds. This line, I think it's quite principled. I think it's not impossible to get an advantage. But it's also, at least if you play it properly, I have a feeling this is relatively risk-free for white. You do get to ask serious questions, and the fact that Hikaru had to deviate from what he's done yesterday in this line, I think, is an indication that this is a very serious line that requires attention.
Yeah, that's been known for a while, and I think it's risk-free, depending on how much you remember. The position is certainly very sharp after rook to d8 now, but I would guess that Daniil, since this is his pet line, also played by his friend and colleague Boris Gelfand and so on, has great knowledge of the details.
Yeah, I wanted to say, you really want to play queen c2 here. You want to sidestep the x-ray on the g file. Yes, it is a pawn sacrifice right now, but my impression is that after takes, rook d4, bishop b3, white is definitely very, very safe, and there might still be even some questions for black to answer. Will be interesting to see how far ahead they will continue blitzing. There's also some bishop f5 ideas available for black, but because white generally has queen b3 check as a reply, it's maybe not that topical here. Like e4, bishop f5 would have been a very, very serious option with the king on h8. But with the king on g8 and queen b3 check being an option, we are probably not that bothered.
Hang on, there's a question for Lawrence in the chat. Jay Blackner is saying, Lawrence Trent in capitals. Remember in the 1960s, Bobby Fischer stayed at the Leko house in Hungary. Double exclaim. What do you have to say for yourself, Lawrence?
Do I remember when Bobby Fischer stayed at the Leko house in the 1960s?
In Hungary?
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
How old was Peter Leko in the 1960s? He must have been a teenager still, huh?
Wasn't he born in like 72, 73, Peter?
Oh,
wow.
Do keep up.
Wow. Shots fired.
No, how old is Peter? Maybe he's only 40.
Born in 1979.
79. Yeah. Sorry, Peter.
Yeah, and
Wow.
well, okay, so bishop f5, bishop e6, and Daniel has already repeated once. This is
There you
kind
go.
of
Draw is okay. That was the question.
no. I just assumed it's not really a draw, and I guess I was wrong. There's bishop takes b7 there, which is why, like, particularly the reason I was not sure about all this is that after queen b3, bishop b6, there is bishop takes b7 as a potential shot. But I suppose you just take on b3, take on c8, go e d4, and knight takes a4, and it's just completely equal, I guess, yeah? And Daniel doesn't actually take the draw. He goes bishop e4 instead.
Okay, there you go. Draw is not okay.
I
Interesting
feel
move.
bad.
Draw.
If
Takes,
you're
queen
watching,
takes, yeah.
you know, I just got my bearing. I knew you were a 70s guy. Did you ever watch that series, Jan? That 70s show?
Are you kidding? Anything with Ashton Kutcher.
That's
I have
not
to
how.
say though,
That's not how I would phrase it. To be to be honest, for me
what's
that
the
wasn't
name of that red-haired girl on that
exactly.
show?
Yeah, that's the more relevant question there, I think.
Wow.
Not a fan. What's her name? Laura Prepon.
I think that's right, actually.
I might be mispronouncing it, but something along these lines. Donna in the show.
Yeah, and also at some point and this will be a very very niche reference, which very
I don't
few
even know if
people-
Anish is watching.
yeah, which I suspect very few people will be interested in. But the guy who plays Fez in that 70s show is, in my opinion, an absolute spitting image of the young Tendulkar, which I found very amusing when I saw pictures of the young Tendulkar.
I can't remember
Yeah.
a young
Tell me about young Tendulkar. Stunning. Still, I'm out on Laura Prepon ever since that Conan O'Brien interview where she offended the South. So I have mixed feelings about that 70s show. But I've watched way too much of it for sure. Anyway, back to Dubov. Bishop e4, queen e4, ed, Zwischenzug, ed, and now white has a weakened pawn structure, but he's relying on the weakened black king and active pieces. Peter, what's going on? Bishop f8, what do we do?
Yeah, bishop f8 seems very normal. You want to get it out of the way and sort of make sure that nothing is hanging there, and proceed from there. Basically, the pawn on a4 is still hanging. I'm not entirely sure where Daniel is going with this, to be honest. We'll see.
Yeah, because strategically you could end up being worse. I guess white has a reserve of safety because black pieces don't coordinate too well if we just play bishop f4 or whatnot. But it's a tricky position. He plays bishop f4.
Is there any reason why he didn't take the draw? Have we established that yet?
Oh, maybe it's also a principle thing for him. He is a proud young man, and to just go make a draw with the white pieces out of the opening. Bill Lako talked about this, that many people just think it's against the spirit of chess. Also, he might just still be in his prep and he's saying, okay, I'm safe here. I haven't won the match yet with a draw. Why not ask a bunch of questions?
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward for black here, isn't it? Because like you can
C6?
trade a4 for b7. Yeah, after c6, I guess white goes a5. Yeah, I suspect knight d5. We take, but then maybe even c takes
No,
d5 is
maybe
playable,
CD.
yeah?
I don't know.
Maybe even cd5 is playable.
C6 played. Now knight takes a4 could be a threat, no? Probably is a threat.
Probably is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting if this goes horribly wrong for Daniel. If Hikaru manages to stabilize and have some kind of constant pressure in some ending, and Daniel goes on to lose this, I think he's gonna really find it difficult to readjust to that reality. Because this is the sort of position where you can just drift again with white. You know,
it's also, in a way, it's a Hikaru-esque position, no? Like, once everything is solid, then he will start playing quickly. There are targets, so you have to be careful. Not saying that white is worse. I don't think he is, but it's spicy.
Yeah. Then again, like as we've discussed with Dubov, you cannot really rule out the possibility of him just knowing and not really being worried about anything here, for the very simple reason that he's looked at this, and yes, I assume just looking at these positions, these types of positions these days, you just assume it's equal, right? You don't really expect white to be better.
Doesn't look like, no.
But yeah, takes queen b3, I think, is the intention here. Knight d5 played. Yeah, I think takes queen b3 is very, very likely what Daniel is, or maybe even the immediate queen b3. I don't know why I'm taking.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah.
Lawrence, there's rook b6 maybe.
Yes, tell me, Jan, please.
No, I was going to ask if you watched that 70s show, but people will get upset if we don't stick to it.
Also, I can just answer very quickly. No.
Okay.
Never watched.
How about the wrench?
No.
Punked.
Punked, yes.
The butterfly effect.
Yes.
2.5 men post Charlie Sheen.
Of course.
Okay. I think I'm more of a Kutcher head than you then.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Ashton Kutcher fan, to be honest.
Because I'm a Ashton Kutcher man.
He's a
Everybody knows I'm here. Or some such.
Anyway.
Queen a8.
Yeah, this is real. This is real stuff. Queen a8. So these endings here are. Feels as though with the active rook we should be okay in the clear. So let's say I just take on b7 just for the lols. Is he going to go rook takes a4 there without exchanging queens?
Why not?
Okay, so let's say I go rook a4. Let's say I just take rook c1, rook f.
But what you want? Draw?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's just Nietzsche. Rook takes c6, and let's go home, no?
Yep. So can white do better, I guess, is the question.
I don't really see a way. And I don't actually see why he should be able to do better here. Black, objectively is strategically superior. Better pawn structure. 2 pawn islands versus 3. That's what I learned from the books.
But in these challenging times, aren't distant pawns good?
Pawn distancing, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you. I think white should take on b7. And it will probably just peter out. Speaking of peter out, where are you, Peter?
Peter.
I'm still here. What do you mean?
No,
we're in a bit of a weird flux at the moment. There's nothing really going on. It should just be a draw. It's just like, come on, guys, hurry up. Daniel, just take the pawn. Let's move on. You gave it a shot. He goes
FC1.
FC1.
He's pushing his luck. Why push your luck, Daniel? You're leading in the match.
He's not. I mean,
maybe he's not pushing it. Yeah.
There's
no. It's a weird move. It's just transposing after.
It just transposes. It's just
right.
Weird. No, I mean it's just going to be a mass liquidation of these queenside pawns, and they're going to shake hands, I think, very, very soon. Actually, they're not
Not
gonna-
literally, right?
Not literally. What are your views, guys, on the future of digital chess? And what I mean by that is virtual reality chess. I'm very excited about it.
Do you think chess is the first thing VR should be applied to?
Well, I think it's already being applied to other games, and I would much rather shake your hand in a virtual scenario, than actually have to sit across you from the board.
Right, but chess, can we play it the way it is on the internet already? Now, how much VR do we need?
No, I mean, it would be nice to be able to gaze into your opponent's eyes, and
Which they can literally do right now.
they can, but I think there is something to be said for VR. We can get, tournament halls and all the good stuff that we used to have 6 months ago.
Sounds fantastic. I am sold. Let's do it.
Yeah. And the game has ended in a draw.
Not a shocker, if we're honest with ourselves here.
Yeah. Not a shocker at all. And the sort of performance Hikaru, I think, correctly was hoping for. I mean, he didn't go nuts. He didn't try and force a win. He asked Daniel to show something with white. Daniel showed pretty much nothing. Hikaru was never in trouble. His preparation was good. And now the big question is, Hikaru has white. So is this a moment you take a stand? I think it probably is. I think this is where, as Hikaru, you start to say, okay, let's really risk it a little bit, because what are you going to do against Dubov's English in game 4 if you draw here? It's quite difficult. So it's just going to be very interesting to see what Hikaru comes up with. Is he going to play an Alapin again? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah,
There's no way he's playing Alapin again.
Yeah, that seemed to be like a bit of a failed experiment. You don't really foresee that happening.
I did bring popcorn. I hope for some action. Literally.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Oh, you actually have popcorn.
Yeah.
That's what the word literally means.
Lawrence and literally are not friends.
Yeah. Me and literally are literally at odds. So what are we thinking, Jan? What would you do? Hikaru Nakamura.
I'm thinking, first of all, it's a difficult spot because Hikaru, it looks like he did not expect Dubov to return to c5, knight c6, and you can't really come up with a way to bust his repertoire in the main line after 3 bishop b5 g6. We don't have the board yet. In the main line of the Sicilian after 3 bishop b5 g6, in like the 5 minutes break they have. So I don't know if Hikaru should go for this as a means to play for a win. I think this would be the logical choice because here there are the most options. But if you're not ready for this, Dubov obviously has done tons of work in all his Dubovian systems. He has bishop c6, bc, and so on. So I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure we won't see a repeat of the Alapin. I don't think Hikaru will switch to d4. So it really comes down to choosing what third move he wants here. Knight c3, d4, or bishop to b5. My money would still be on bishop to b5 in the tournament situation.
Yeah. Be interesting to see, though. Trying to think, why is Hikaru staying away from 1d4?
Yeah, I was about to mention there are other first moves available. Hikaru these days does seem to be, very exclusive. Well, pretty much exclusively a 1e4 player, but he could definitely play something else. And I think Daniel's repertoire kind of lends itself to other options quite well.
He plays 1e4 about twice as often as 1d4. He could do that, but it doesn't look like, he's been preparing that. I wouldn't be too surprised if he also says, you know what, it's 1b3 time. You and your theory, Mr. Dubov. Then again, Mr. Dubov might have theory after 1b3. So
Yeah, you can't exclude that
Shall see.
probability at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Difficult one to say. But for me, I think this is, I think if Daniel survives this game, we don't see an Armageddon today. I think he feels supreme with white. So what is Hikaru going to do? Anyway, we'll soon find out. Hope everybody's enjoying this. Of course, remember, get yourselves that premium membership monthly price of $1 using the code DOUBLE. There'll be plenty of banter blitzes. Tonight we've got Peter Leko.
wow.
Jan, what about your opening clinic? Is that for premium members as well?
Yeah, of course. I have to admit, I'm behind on my opening clinic answers. My excuse is that I'm doing live commentary pretty much every day, but it's coming back. Yeah, you can ask me. Well, if I ever make it through the current season, premium members can ask me opening questions, and I will answer them to the best of Leela's knowledge.
Is that your engine of choice, Jan, Leela?
I usually use both Leela and Stockfish when I'm looking at something seriously. You know, Leela, it's like on this show. Leela is more for the strategic vision, the grand ideas, like you, and then Stockfish is, you know, for the short, concrete lines. So I usually use these two then nowadays. The nerds out there, they will know better than me. There are all kinds of different iterations of both these openings. But yeah, that's of both these engines. But that's my go-to setup.
What about you, Peter? Have you got an engine of choice?
I think I'm also, in particular, once I started as part of preparation for the candidates, I got to hang out with people, you know, less than half my age for a bit, and they are all very much on the Leela train, and so that kind of influenced my my view of the situation as well.
Fair enough. We've got, what, a couple minutes left? It's probably been 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Already, right? So games will kick off shortly. Bit of an odd mood now. I think nobody really expected this. I have to say, I didn't expect this to kick things off today.
Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily changes my mood, but I'm with you.
What are we talking about? You're in a bad mood because Hikaru's down in the match?
If I'm in a bad mood?
Probably I misunderstood, sir. I was zoomed out.
I'm in a glorious mood.
I thought you said you're in a bad mood.
I'm schwitzing over here.
Wow.
It's
Get yourself a little nash.
yeah, I would love to. Might have a little schluff as well while I'm at it. That's you.
How could this go wrong?
Yeah. No, but seriously,
I feel very left out.
don't hop in. You know, get your tuchus over here.
This word I do know.
Okay. So yeah, all I want for this match is there to be action. I live for the action. So I'm just excited that if we get another day, that'll be terrific. And you've got to give props to Daniel Dubov. You know, Back has been up against the ball many, many times in this tournament, and he's found a way to just keep the ship afloat. He's found that bit of resilience that you need. Sign of a great player, by the way. Somebody who can just grit your teeth and dig your heels in and just find a way. He's done that. It's been he's been very impressive. By far my favorite player at the moment, Daniel Dubov.
By far, yeah?
By far. Yeah. Forget your Carlsen.
Who's like number 2 on the list?
Sorry?
Who's number 2 on your list of favorite players?
Of the moment?
Yeah.
Tough question.
So it's just Dubov and you can't even think of anybody coming close.
Ali Reza?
Wow.
Just because, you know, he's just so fresh. I like him fresh.
Oof.
Wow.
No, I just can't think of.
Don't.
I mean, there's no coming back from that. Like that ends the conversation very, very efficiently.
So fresh and so clean.
Fresh and so clean. Actually,
I read that article, by the way, that we have up in the news today about Iranian chess heritage, and it's very, very interesting read. I didn't know a lot of this stuff in there, so I highly recommend it. So back to your list. Dubov, clear number 1.
Dubov, Ali Reza.
Okay, back to chess. And
wow,
Hikaru chose 3 knight c3. This is the position we were talking about. We had to find a line that looked like he wasn't ready to go bishop b5. So we went with this. The point of knight c3 is you avoid the Sveshnikov. If you go d4, you get the Sveshnikov where Dubov is an expert. While after knight c3, if black goes knight f6, now white has extra options like bishop b5 or e5. Mainly bishop b5. So Dubov now transposes to the accelerated dragon with g6, having avoided the white pawn ending up on c4. And this line that they're blitzing into, rook to e8, is a bit of a Dubov specialty as well. This position, there are many other moves. Queen a5, d6, a5, d5, e6 have all been played. But rook to e8, bit of a half-waiting move, asking for white to commit to f3 before black shows his hand.
Yeah, so this, rook e8. Was this a Gelfand invention? I have a feeling it was.
I'm not sure who was first, but this Gelfand-Dubov cuisine, there's clearly some exchange of recipes.
I think it's possible that this was originally played by Vadim Zvyagintsev, who used to play a lot of this line. He definitely played e6, but maybe rook e8 as well. But yeah, these days you feel like the Dubov Gelfand syndicate probably is responsible for most of it.
Yeah, and we get a position after, if we go to the position on the board, Jan, where we have a dragon. But
the point...
Sorry?
The point is after this rook e8, if white doesn't commit to f3 and these sharp lines after d5 or e6, if it goes h3, then we don't get a sharp dragon where white can go for, trying to checkmate the black king. And now black is saying, all right, if you want to play quiet, then rook e8 might not be the most critical move. But since you put your king here, I'm not too worried about it. Rook e8 doesn't hurt me. And I've avoided the dangerous plans with queenside castling and h4, h5. So I think Dubov will be happy with the outcome here. Knight a5.
I mean, I was always told by the guru of the Sicilian Dragon, Grandmaster Chris Ward, who, by the way, is a very good salsa dancer in his own right, runs a salsa club down by Bromley.
Shout out to your boy, Chris Ward.
He always said to me, Lawrence, and this was when I was like 9 years old, they castle on the king's side, no big deal.
Exactly. That's why he went rook e8.
Yeah. So we're never scared of this setup. if white castle's on the king side. And now knight a5. And this is a gorgeous dragon. You go rook c8, any bishop h6, you go bishop h8. And you're just very happy here as a dragon player. Very happy.
Yeah, it's not like black is better or anything. If you turned the board around, it would be an excellent c4, e5 from then the black perspective. But yeah, I do agree that it doesn't look too scary for Daniel. Peter, now that we've given our expert opinions, you as the real chess expert on the show, what do you think?
I've always tried avoiding positions like this with the white pieces because I never quite know what I'm doing. In fact, you know, I have this is a better position than the one I got, but I have a recent personal experience which perhaps turned me off of this for the foreseeable. In my latest Banter Blitz, I played one of the young Uzbek players, and I luckily beat him with the black pieces, and he offered a rematch. And I stupidly, instead of just quitting while I was ahead, I accepted a rematch and got absolutely destroyed, specifically in the rook e8 accelerated dragon. But I played very, very poorly. But the fact that I played very, very poorly, I think in part is explained by my general dislike for dragons with white castling short in general. I played quite a lot of the quieter dragons from the white side when I was growing up, but I was playing the bishop e2, bishop e3, f4 positions, which at least the bishop kind of survives. You don't get them here because the pawn is on d7 and black will play d5 in one tempo, and that's actually probably the biggest reason why the accelerated dragon is a thing, so to speak.
The biggest? Because you want to avoid the bishop e2, bishop e3 system that everyone plays in regular dragon?
Absolutely. That's the scariest part about the dragon. Yeah, that statement probably needs revising. But all in all, yeah, I wouldn't know where to begin. I would be reasonably happy about bishop takes g7 being allowed, though. I'm a bit surprised. Bishop h8.
Yeah, keep that bishop. Maybe he didn't like some knight f5s, but it's not exactly checkmate.
Yeah, then again, the positions with the bishops traded are also, like, if you look at this as a bit of a crossbreed between, let's say, all kinds of Sicilians here. I mean, it's quite clearly the dragon, but at some point, black could, with the bishops traded off, think about playing a7, a6, and then maybe e5, put the bishop on e6 and pretend it's a good Najdorf. I don't know how good this Najdorf is, but it's definitely playable.
Yeah, queen b6.
You always have to be a bit careful because now white just runs the f pawn up the board, right? F4 e5 is always very dangerous.
Yeah, the position is not without venom. If you just do nothing for a bit too long here with the black pieces, you might most assuredly run into difficulties. But yeah, generally speaking, it's not bad.
There's even some strategic danger, no? Like for the nits, I would think about plans like rook e1, knight d5, takes.
No.
Of course, putting a pawn on e5 will stop that.
Yeah, they normally just reply to knight d5 with e5 straight away, not allowing that setup at all.
And yeah, you play queen b6, also probably stopping f4 because of e5.
Yeah.
While
Very sensible.
Time, maybe getting ready for this. Allowing knight d5 though, because now e5 would run into.
By the way, can we do it any?
b6.
Sorry, can we go f4?
No.
Почему?
Let's include knight b3 ab because he wants to go rook f6 here,
Of course
and
I want to go rook f6.
yeah, let's include. But even here, queen f6 and then knight b3 anyway is not going to work out for you.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, doing it this way is probably safer. Yeah.
This way is also good. Okay.
Yeah, and queen f6 also fine, but yeah, queen d4 probably. You know, if we're playing specifically against Lawrence, we want to play queen takes d4 because it will kill off his interest in the game so completely.
Okay,
that
so we play the honest.
It's not about which move is good, but which will tilt your opponent more and like, oh, he's chickening out, exchanging queens. I'm no longer interested.
No, but here we just go king h1. This is the really.
I would think 95 is a serious move here, but
I'm surprised it's being allowed, to be honest. And also I'm surprised it's taking Hikaru so long to play it, because it's the justification of all of his previous play. I guess maybe takes queen c5 is bugging him a little bit, aiming to create some play around that d5 pawn. But yeah, we can go c3 and then take on b3 with the knight, I suppose, if that happens.
Sure, it's very dangerous. Yeah, 95 has been played because this past e-pawn, no, this backwards e-pawn is a real thing. And Dorfman was talking a lot about it in this video series, and I'm assuming also in his book. But in this video series we did on Chess24, the method in chess, it was mainly about get outpost, put horse C on outpost, recapture with a pawn, fix backwards pawn, attack backwards pawn, win game. So Dorfman, big believer in this transformation from the white side. And of course, he's not wrong.
No, not at all.
Played.
c5, apart from c3, you could look for more sort of
Rook fe1.
Combinational responses. Yeah, Rook fe1 might be playable, but c3 is just... Yeah, we take with the knight, go queen d4 check, we go rook c1. But yeah, why allow any of that ever? Just feels so completely unnecessary.
Rook fe1 played.
Yes, well...
hang on a sec. No, there's no 96 shenanigans there. I was wondering if he's planning to go ab3, queen d5, and then some kind of a discovered check. But none of the discovered checks work.
Still odd to me. Like, might just be good. But I just thought, strategically, c3, and then we do all our business. Well, now we better be sure. So, how does this go? What do you do?
I'm not sure. Yeah,
Rook c1?
Rook c1, queen f5. Yeah, why is this so great?
d5. Yeah. So we take on c8.
Yeah, bishop takes, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's confusing to me because there was absolutely no call for us to do that. c3 was perfectly adequate.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as if this is unplayable for white. Of course, it's not. But I'm just surprised that the ease with which this decision had been taken, because I think it's a very committal decision which could just change the course of the game. Yeah, I can't make any of the pawn captures work. You would dearly love to be able to go ab3 here, of course. That would be very, very important, like in white's plans.
So here, if you get c4 in or anything, you're strategically close to winning. But
yeah, exactly.
Queen d5 works, no?
Yeah, I just don't see. I thought knight e6, bishop e6, and then queen c3 check. But unfortunately for us, the c3 square is covered. Otherwise, it would have been a cute little tactic, but just doesn't work at all. And if you have to make a quiet move like queen f4 here, the queen just goes back to c5, and we don't have nearly enough attackers to mount any kind of an offensive on the king's side. And you do, I think, run genuine risks if you have to take with the knight and allow queen c2. That position we're discussing, I suspect it ends up being equal somehow, but it does become very double-edged, because both the structures are under threat there. Maybe we just play queen d4, king g8, and take on a7 immediately without any rook c1 preparations.
Also, I'd be so happy with black, because here I'd be very worried about being in real big trouble strategically. And then after rook e1,
actually, maybe I know part of what happened. Maybe c3, knight c4 he felt was a bit awkward, intending just to take on d5 if we play queen e2, because the tactics actually do seem to work out for black. And if you have to take on c4, then after queen takes c4, once again, two of your guys are hanging, and knight b3, bishop a4 is not that comfortable either. So maybe he actually played himself into some sort of I don't know want to call it difficulty, but maybe it is what it is. Maybe it is a bit of a difficult position here.
I'm thinking about very nitty moves like Queen C2 here and saying still okay, but
Yeah,
off
B5,
topic,
B5,
kind of
B4.
fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Take.
There's a double pin here, so you can't easily shift the queen from C4 in this position.
Yeah. Anyway, none of this happened. Queen takes C2 on the board. I'm just saying that this makes Dubov's life so much easier because he no longer has to worry about white consolidating and just squeezing him. Now it's white who has to prove he's got something here.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all.
There's a question, when is the next banter with the GM? Peter Lako plays Banter Blitz tonight, 20:30 our time. So that's in what, 3 hours? King G8 played.
Yeah, I think we take on A7. We don't include Rook C1 at all. We take on A7 here. Queen B2, Queen B7 actually looks completely fine for white. Probably ends up being some sort of a draw.
Yeah,
Queen B2, Queen B7, Queen takes
not
A2
winning this
actually.
ever, right? Like Bishop A4 or whatnot.
Actually, I think I can take on A2. I think it's kind of relevant that I can. Although Rook A1 might trouble me because Queen D7, Queen B3, I'm happy. But Rook A1 and then Queen D7? Like we go Queen, let's say C2 here. I take on D7, you take on B3, and I take on A7. No, it's just a draw. The Rook takes E7, of course. Yeah. Okay. It is very safe.
I would lose this with black. Say very much, but you know. I've learned it's always important to say what's on your mind.
What's on your mind currently?
Well, there's a bit of an existential crisis.
Do you have existential angst? Do you worry about the future?
I don't, but I do enjoy meditating. I highly recommend it. And I have, if you look at my Twitter, I supported a very good friend of mine who's doing, I forget the exact name, sound with special sound meditations.
Wow, how did I walk into that?
Sound baths. Well, I tried meditating a long time ago and found it quite difficult. And with sound meditations, it's I don't know, it somehow allows me to focus a lot more rather than your standard meditation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Mr.
Have you
Doji
ever
is saying, I
had-
bet Lawrence is great at meditating. Clear your mind.
It's important when you're a sick human being to get some balance and some zen in your life.
All trolling aside, I think it would be good for me.
I think it's good for almost anybody. It's just very difficult to make the starting step.
Is it though?
It is for me. I know I haven't been able to, so I say this with great confidence that it is difficult for me.
Fair enough. Let's all start meditating, and then we'll talk about our experiences on the next show. And then we'll try to sell them to Netflix, like Gwyneth Paltrow, the Chess24 Goop Lab. Okay, maybe that's not going to work. But I'm on board with the meditating. Lawrence, you have to be my, what's the word? My spiritual guide, my mentor.
Yeah, the Sherpa in the world of...
How do I start? My Sherpa.
No, I'll just send you a link. Get on SoundCloud. Find a nice place. You can sit or lay down. You don't have to be in any funky yoga poses. And it's really nice hearing the sounds. You get into a deep meditative state if you can just quiet your mind and quiet your thoughts.
But that's what I'm doing. I lie on my bed and I listen to Pusha T. I don't feel any quieter.
Yeah, not.
Shout out to Pusha T if you're watching. Daytona, what an album.
Yeah. wasn't the album I was listening to, but
The story of Adidon.
yeah.
Anyway, this position is Drosh. Dubov, big hip hop fan. He would know what I'm talking about. I'm not sure what music Hikaru listens to. I don't think he's. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I don't think he's a big rap guy. Peter, do you know?
No, I think he's, you know, the Linkin Park and the Limp Bizkits and the things.
Ah, the things. Maybe he has some.
All of them things.
Maybe some crossover.
I'm using, you know, the only guidance I'm using for this answer is what he plays on stream. So that probably isn't much of an indication, but. And also I could be completely wrong, but that was the impression I got.
Europameister is saying, I do sound meditation with Peter 30 hours Grunfeld course. There you go. That is, of course.
That is actually, like, no joke. That was very much part of why I originally accepted the idea to start recording things for Chess24, because for years and years, for me, you know, the voice I fell asleep to was the voice of Phil Galfond, and I wanted, you know, to emulate that specifically. So if I succeeded in that for at least a small portion of the audience, I feel my life is in a way complete.
For people who don't know who that, if you thought Peter Svidler was the nicest guy and most apologetic, you ain't seen nothing till you've met Mr. Phil Galfond, the sweetest man known to man, and a great pot limit Omaha player. My favorite game when it comes to the old cards.
Only Galfond I know is Boris.
Yeah, I'm sure these jokes have been made before.
I doubt it. Queen A2. What is that to do? It's just a draw, yeah? Queen D7. No, Rook A1 first, so the rook is not hanging. And then Queen anywhere, Queen D7.
This is all rather dull, this position, has to be said. So if this is as dull as we perceive it to be, that means then that Hikaru is going to have to do something very special in game 4. Be very curious where he wants to go.
Queen C2. Now it seems like you got to take, but is there something else? Rook C1. Where do we go? Queen F5.
You can go anywhere here. Why Queen F5? Queen D3.
Yeah, maybe no. Just wondering. Queen D3, Queen D7. If I could blunder a rook or something, which I'm capable of.
Oh, actually, did I blunder a rook?
No.
Sort of, yeah. Not a rook, but you did seemingly blunder a light piece. So Queen F5.
And here Knight D4, isn't this?
This is also a bit of a problem, yeah.
Food for thought. Well, we can take in Queen F4. I guess.
Oh yeah, that solves it. That solves it very, very convincingly. Food for thought indeed.
Knight E2. Let's continue. Yeah, you have to go there because Queen F5 G4 is actually a move, no?
Yep.
Actually, even there, Bishop C8, it's still not clear.
Joffrey wants to know, who's the nicest GM in the world? Leko, Svidler, or Kamsky? Peter, who is it?
Leko. But also, this is a nice lineup. Not.
That's the three names that usually come up, no?
Absolutely, yeah, it must be.
But only because Lawrence is not yet a GM.
Right.
Queen D7, Queen B3, Rook E7. And earlier we looked at Rook E7, Queen C8, King G7, Rook A8, and then you didn't say moves, so I
just assumed it was okay. It looks losing.
Stopped the investigation, but of course Rook E7 not exactly forced. Rook D8 played instead, which seems somewhat safer.
Yeah, this is clever. So now you're actually probably going to go queen b7 because you've got to hold on to the pawn, and then really we are looking at Nichaville.
Yeah, black is maybe ever so slightly better because the d5 pawn is weaker than the d6 pawn because it's harder to support with the king. But yeah, not much doing there clearly.
So you just double on the 7th, and when black.
Yeah. I mean, it's is not happening for anybody there.
Yeah, and who is
clearly
nicest GM list for you? Top 3.
Top 3 of nicest grandmasters.
No, not nicest.
Not nicest.
Yeah.
But I thought the policy of this show is usually everyone's very nice and everyone's very strong. Those are our 2 public opinions, no?
Yes, that's true.
And
As
they
you
are
know,
very
in
public.
private, I hate most people. But on the air, big fan. It's very phony, chess business. A lot of backstabbing.
Yeah, and I think what Hikaru will do here, just to return to this game for a bit, is rook a7, rook f8, rook d7.
Exactly.
Just don't play the game anymore. Rook d7, rook d5, rook a6, and
I think Peter's trying to change the topic from the not nicest GM.
yeah, I'm trying to deflect as hard as I can, but not succeeding so far. Yeah.
All right, we've got.
All right, let's continue talking about this game then. H4 played, fixing the 3 versus 3. I think this is pretty Josh, and typically the players find a move repetition here very quickly. This 3 versus 3 is how many Grandmaster games eventually end. Topalov against Carlsen recently comes to mind. So I do not expect this game to last much longer.
Mouse slipping here would be somewhat tragic.
Well, it depends. If you want to go rook d1 and you mouse slip rook d2, it doesn't really matter that much.
Oh, he's gone rook f1. They're really trolling each other now, no?
Not really, no. I mean, it's
showing a great sense of humor because this position is very drawn. So it's more about who offers the draw. And yeah, it turns out it was probably Dubov after rook to c6.
I don't think anybody offered a draw. I think they actually got a threefold.
Yeah, that works.
It's always a fun way. So the situation is crystal clear. Hikaru Nakamura needs to win with the black pieces in game 4. Else, this match goes to a final day. He can go for broke here. He can go for his lungs. He doesn't have to worry. He just needs to go for it. The question is, how? How is he going to play? What is he going to do against 1c4? My personal favorite, of course, when I have to play for a win against 1c4, is the old 1b6, which I think is a pretty good opening. You know?
1b6.
Yeah, c4.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Why not?
Against c4. Yeah, against c4 it could happen. But I would guess
not...
Dubov might switch to d4. Because c4, e5, somehow there's more play in the position than d4. Then Queen's Gambit declined.
He might even play 1 e4, actually. Wouldn't surprise me too much. It's very difficult to say what Daniel wants to do. And also, the next question is, have we seen Daniel Dubov actually try and play a game? Like, he just needs to make a draw, right? Is it in his... does it exist in his chess philosophy, this concept?
Yeah, against Kayakin, he overdid it a bit. He tried very hard to make a draw, went for a slightly worse position with opposite color bishops with the white pieces.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. I feel as though this is where he's at his most uncomfortable, actually. I think when Daniel is in a spot where he just has to play chess and play for a win in every game, he feels at home. But now he's got like a huge expectation for him to make a draw.
So you're saying this is the worst possible situation for him, to one-up white in the last game?
I would say it's certainly not the worst possible situation, but I feel as though he doesn't thrive in these spots.
Yeah, I don't really disagree that it might not come natural to him to have this strategizing included to it. Still, white in a must-draw game is a pretty sweet spot for any strong player. It's gone wrong for him once against Kayakin. it's hard to believe it goes wrong twice. Then again,
Yeah, don't really expect that. And he will have learned something from that game. I don't know, if there's much of a learning opportunity there available, but he probably decides not to go full passive again, because he really did switch off at some point and just thought, let's just shuffle the pieces on the two back ranks available to us here forever. And frankly, with his style, I would suggest that's not the best use of his time and his talents. We'll see. I think opening wise, he will once again play sort of a normal repertoire and start steering it towards relative safety. Maybe starting from move 20, not earlier, as he did against Karekin. Against Karekin, he played his perfectly normal repertoire, didn't really deviate from anything there.
So how big do we think Hikaru's chances are to win this one with the black pieces and make it to an Armageddon? This number we've discussed a bit in the past. Usually, I think the consensus has been like 10-15%. In similar spots, I feel it's a little higher here because it's rapid, also given Hikaru's great tenacity and prowess of making something happen. I would give him like 25% maybe. Is that fair?
No, I think that's too high with black. I don't think he wins this 1 in 4 times, but I would say the 15% area feels a lot more correct. 15-20%. I think 25% is probably just a little bit too high. Not saying he won't, of course, but I wouldn't take Hikaru here at 25%, but 3-1.
I would think he wins 1 out of 4 if they do this 4 times. Maybe not. I'm not sure at all.
Yeah, it's very difficult to gauge.
We've seen Fabiano do it against Hikaru in the Magnus Carlsen Invitational. But yeah, of course. Statistics, long time, are probably more in that 10-15% neighborhood. Would be interesting to find out. Like must-win situations for black players when both sides are rated 2700 plus.
Indeed, yeah.
I think the number is quite low, actually. I think it's those things do happen, but they happen a lot, maybe even rarer than you would suspect. People winning on demand with black. Obviously, a lot more in rapid than in classical, but even in rapid, I think the cases are fewer and far between.
Well, so far we've seen Kayakin do it, and we've seen Karana do it in these last couple events. I'm not sure if there were more cases. Can't think.
Yeah.
Couple, man.
I'm tempted just for narrative purposes to also include the Carlsen Dubov game from the round robin, but it doesn't entirely count because he had one more round.
Yeah, but close enough. Even though Carlsen was not playing for a draw there, so it's not an exact comparison.
Yeah, it's obviously the situation when it's not an actual knockout match is very different, but it was a must-win for Dubov pretty much.
All right. What's the most famous one? Like Gurevich short is one that comes up often, where black came through. But also because of Gurevich's opening choice, where he went against his usual taste for the exchange French. The problem is this might be a legit choice, but then if you lose, it always looks stupid. It's the same whenever I play the exchange Slav, which is of course often because it's a fantastic opening. I'm good with the opening, but I'm worried that if I make a quick draw, which I also do often, I will be perceived as even more chicken than usual because of my choice of the exchange Slav. Lawrence, do you wrestle with such problems? Are you worried what people will think of you based on your opening choices?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to watch me play the Exchange Slav with white. I wouldn't be that. Wouldn't want to be that kind of guy. The Exchange.
So you'd
friend,
rather be known as a swashbuckling player, even at the price of your openings not always being sound, right?
my openings are sound. They just bring no advantage from the white side.
No, but I mean, you played the L-bins where any computer, even whatever, will tell you white is better if they take the pawn, no? But you still enjoy it.
Well, I mean, white is better only in so far as, he has an extra pawn, but he's actually worse.
Interesting.
It's just very deep. It's just very difficult to explain. But it's a great opening, the Albin counter gambit. I suggest everybody play it.
Yeah, I suggest everybody play it too.
Yeah. No, I mean, everything is about being true to yourself, isn't it? Chess, life.
What does that even mean? I have no clue who I am. How can I be true to?
Well, then the path to finding yourself may be what's on the top of the list right now for you. Yeah. You don't.
First, I gotta find myself and then be true to it.
Yeah,
what if I find out?
Yeah,
I'm
it sounds like a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but look at this: Art of Attack in Chess, 50% off with the Ginger GM.
Maybe that will help me to find myself.
Exactly. It would help all of the guys here as well to find themselves with a higher rating after becoming a Chessable, what are they, members or purchaser of that course. Art of Attack with my good friend, the one and only Simon Williams, who, he's true to himself, right?
Very true.
This is all him. Well, he's very. Did I tell you the story about Simon trying to book himself to be a monk for 3? I think I told this on air, didn't I? Or I can't.
Maybe that's where he learned to be true to himself.
Well, Simon was due to be secluded for weeks on end in some monastery, and he booked the ticket.
Did he go to Lindores Abbey? Maybe.
It wasn't Lindores Abbey, but. Even though I believe he bought the tickets, he didn't quite make it to the airport. But he was close.
Anything
this close?
Yeah, he was this close. So
is he still filled with bitter regret on the topic, or?
I don't think so. Simon has had his moments, and I think he needed to find a way to cool down. And I don't think in the end he needed to go.
So I don't actually have to go. I just need to purchase a ticket.
Yes.
That sounds more doable.
Also, we have moves, so perhaps
that's part of that's step one.
And Nakamura goes for the Leningrad Dutch, which he chose in the last round of the U.S. Championships, I think, last year.
Also, I played this against Daniel in my must-win game in Hamburg after losing game 3 of the tie breaks. I lasted about 17 moves before he offered me a draw in a +5 position because he's a nice guy.
I'm sure that's why he did it. And knight bd2 and rook to e1, a bit of a sideline, but knight d2 is, I guess, hinting at bishop g7, e4.
Yeah, that's what I did, and I did not get very far there.
Knight c6 to avoid that. After which, knight f3. You can also make a case for c3, e4. I'm sure Daniel knows what he's doing here.
Yeah, I think you have to lean very heavily towards playing d5 here, right? Because allowing e4, you just feel like you're never really going to be making too much progress. Those positions are just so solid for white.
Yeah,
but after d5, d5 has obviously Stonewall also maybe is not everybody's first choice of an attacking opening for a must-win game, but Stonewall does lead to games which are kind of protracted in nature. And
I don't think d5 is happening. Might be.
No, I think d5 is happening. Magnus Carlsen plays.
Oh, d5 is happening. I was wrong again.
d5 is happening.
Yeah,
Magnus,
I think white probably goes c4. I think that's probably the point of this setup. Because otherwise, like if you allow black to play knight e4 next move comfortably, it really does start looking like a really excellent stonewall. But c4 stops those things, probably prompts black to play e6, and after that we can switch back to like normal b3, bishop b2, e3, you know, quiet, nondescript lines. Maybe even e3 first to make sure that nothing bad happens to us on the long diagonal, but I think b3 is safe enough.
so b3, knight e4.
Bishop b2.
Right. Bishop b2. And now,
Yeah, and then we go e3, we go queen somewhere. Perhaps we start looking at some 95 possibilities somewhere. I'm really not the world's, you know, 29th even specialist on the stonewall. I don't quite know what the plans are here for white in
yeah, I was
particular.
going to say g5. Let's.
Yeah, that's a good way to start asking questions as early as possible.
Magnus has a stonewall course on good old Chess 24, where he explains his irrational love for putting his pawns on f5 and d5. Well, yeah, given the must-win situation, not the worst black could have gotten, no? Space advantage on e4.
No, I mean, pieces on the board, imbalances everywhere. This is the choice. I mean, I like it by Hikaru.
Yeah, I think it's very sensible. I suspect something like
You do
cd5,
knight
ed5, knight e5 is a good starting point as a reply for white. Although we could,
CD.
yeah, we could go knight e5 first straight away. We also could wait until black plays g4, which is maybe a useful inclusion as well. Just
Queen c2.
yeah, something like queen c2, maybe e3. I generally kind of like the idea of including e3 everywhere here, just to make our structure sturdier for the future.
I would have mixed feelings about e3 because it weakens these
Yeah,
white squares in the very distant future.
Carlsen, I'm sure, plays this stonewall with the knight on c6 with the finger and goes b6. This is what I recall. What to do with this bishop on c8? And he puts it either on b7 or a6. But if e3, I would just like b6. That's the way I recall Magnus wanting to play this opening. Okay, rook c1. Okay.
Yeah, also a useful waiting move, and kind of stops the b6, bishop b7 ideas if they ever existed. And
yeah, this is a very clever move, rook c1, actually.
Yeah, rook c1 I like better.
And honestly, if we go back for a second to that game against Sergei Karyakin in the one that Sergei ended up losing, I think Dubov will be a lot happier about this, because against Karyakin he got a kind of a symmetrical structure with very few pieces on the board, opposite color bishops, which was objectively just a draw. But it was a miserable position to play with, like, no active moves available, nothing to calculate, apart from having not to blunder some short tactics, which is something he actually eventually failed to do. Whereas here, it's a sharp position. You could, if you misplay it, become starts being in actual danger. But it's also an interesting position, and the position he will enjoy thinking about. And I think that's a lot better suited to what kind of a player he is.
So g4, knight e5, knight takes e5, d takes e, and pawn to c6 on the board.
I like c6.
Pawn to c6 directly against f3, which was a bit of a strategic threat. Because now if we do it, that could be an unpleasant little.
I think we can still play it, actually. f3, queen b6, c5 might win.
This works, yeah.
As far as I can tell, it does, yeah. And then f3 is, I think, very much a move
to do it.
Yeah, I think we are extremely interested with white. I guess f3 just queen g5 though. I'm sorry, knight g5, not queen g5, of course.
Okay, but now we have options. f3, e4, f4, direct e4, probably not direct e4, cd, How about this?
Yeah. If GFG e4, queen b6 checks, we still have c5, which is very relevant. Yeah, f3 might just be very strong here. Like if it ends up working out for white tactically, it's probably just the correct decision.
Yeah, I guess you go h5 and try to say my knight is well placed. I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably not even lying. It is still a very unclear position. I suspect it's a good position for white, but it's very unclear.
We'll see if Daniel decides to go pawn to f3. What else could he do? He could just take here. Somehow feels wrong, but it's not illegal. Now think about f3 maybe. Not sure.
F3 on the
He's
board.
played f3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Hikaru probably spent the entire time Daniel was thinking about this specific position, so I expect him to react quite quickly. There is some mention, I think, that has to go to knight takes d2 followed by d takes c4, but it's so disastrous positionally that even if it does end up, let's say, landing the rook on d2 and black maybe even wins a pawn somewhere, I think in terms of, like, in particular, if you consider the match situation, you probably don't want to do that because it simplifies the position, trades a lot of pieces. You want as many pieces on the board as possible. You want some, you know, at least a hope of attacking the white king somewhere.
Yep. I think Daniel will be very happy here, actually. Lots of pieces will come off. Struggling to see exactly where Hikaru is going to get some really interesting play. I don't see it at all, actually. Just feels as though better. I wonder if something like the Benoni is a better choice. But, of course, hindsight.
Oh, Captain Hindsight weighing in?
No, I'm just saying in general, you know.
How do you get the Benoni?
Well, you just go knight f6.
Probably knight f3, actually.
Even
Although
c4.
Daniel probably isn't really very afraid of the Benoni, but yeah. Well, knight takes d2, that's interesting. I really thought, you know, specifically because of what the match situation is, knight g5 was more likely. But maybe he just genuinely didn't like f4. Takes h5. That is very surprising to me. That is not an attack that goes anywhere. We can go f4, king f2, and just chill for the rest of the game.
Yeah, like how do you
And
even...
again, the just chilling for the rest of the game is exactly...
No, but that's going to be... I guess right now his intention is f4, d takes c4. Because otherwise it makes no sense. Like if you allow c5 here, you're never touching white's position ever again in this game.
Yeah,
like everything is just... Well, okay, now c5 game over, I think. Game over in that white never loses and he doesn't need to win. So yeah, that is very, very surprising to me. That's not what I expected.
Let's see if Dubov agrees. He's gonna think about it. What breaks black has after c5 in the structure, but it's not that many, right? b6, we just sit on defending his pawn. And yeah, he's played c5.
Yeah, this is...
Hikaru might try to build up on the h file, but there's never any threats, right? King f2.
Yeah,
no, I don't. You just don't have space there. Like you might land one piece on h2, but by that point, white will have a rook on h1, and yeah, it's a very, very surprising development for me because I just don't see. I mean, he could try for some kind of b6 bishop a6 play, but it's not really doing there very much there.
I don't see it because white in the meantime goes bishop d4, b4, a4.
Well, with the bishop on a6, you probably aren't actually playing before, because then it lands on c4 and it becomes a bit of an annoyance in some cases. But
you have to go b6, after which I go bishop d4, or how would you
yeah,
do-
exactly. Like it's not even it's not even that easy to land the bishop on a6 here.
Exactly.
And but if you don't do it straight away, you just never get it there if you don't play it more or less right now. So yeah, I'm not altogether sure what's happening here from Hikaru's perspective. Why did he think that closing the position down this much makes strategic sense here? I'm slightly confused.
King f7 played.
Yeah, bishop
Yeah, I
d4,
guess
king
we'll bishop
f2.
d7, rook h8, queen e7, double rooks, and see where this goes.
But it just doesn't go anywhere. That's exactly the point all three of us have been making. Yeah. So.
But what is the alternative? He's not going to offer a draw, so might as well try to put some rooks here.
Yeah, shocking decision, I think, by Hikaru. How does he ever win?
Surprising at the very least. Yeah, not something we expected.
Then again, we've talked about, what is it, 10%, 15%, 25%. It's borderline impossible, or very tall odds to overcome, to create winning chances against a world-class player that's fine with a draw with white. So,
fair point, of course, yeah. Fair point. And Hikaru also feels maybe that, even if today isn't really his day, there is day 3, so.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how much that actually factors into his calculations, because against Magnus, he played the hippo, so.
Yeah, I don't know how that would play into what he does in this game. Other than, yeah, he's talked about this, maybe less desperation in these situations, if tomorrow never dies, but still a must-win for today.
Yeah. It's obviously a little bit annoying for white to play the waiting game here forever, but not that annoying, honestly.
Bishop f8. I don't know.
No, it's not. It's very
I feel uneasy.
Envisage. So, do you ever actually try and go like b? Do you ever play b4 here with white?
Or a5? No.
No, I don't think we ever doing this in such a way so that it allows the opening of the a file. That would feel very, very wrong to me.
You never worried about anything on the king side, Peter? You sound so convinced. Probably you're right.
Yeah, but like, there's just not enough squares there. Why would anything ever happen there?
Put my queen and my rooks. Then I hope for some rook h3, rook g3. Miracles.
So how do we pass here? Let me talk about a subject that a very good friend of mine and fellow international master, Ali Mortazavi, told me a long time ago. He said, Lawrence, you just don't know how to not do anything. What he means by that is, of course, passing. How do you pass well? Passing well is an art.
I think we have a very good illustration of how you pass well here. He's actually bringing the king over to b2 so that he doesn't even have to think about
b6.
Yeah, but b6 doesn't really open, much of anything. You can take on c5 and maybe become slightly worse, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting idea. Aesthetically, it feels quite attractive, but actually,
also h3, rook h2 is more.
Actually, I feel like keeping it on f2 may have been simpler. We'll see. Also, I think he needs to pay very good care to not fall behind on the clock here, because the longer I stare at this, the more I feel that maybe we were not not doing this proper justice from Hikaru's viewpoint, because he can just pass forever until they're both down to like 2 minutes, and then push b6, take on c5, probably kind of ruining his position in the process, but opening some files, go for some kind of a5, a4 play. And eventually on little time, White will have to start taking potentially uncomfortable decisions.
Yeah.
I think everything is going to revolve around this b6 move, right? At the right.
No, but also with the rook c3, there's queen a5. I don't know. I would not be comfortable with White at all. Not saying it's not a draw. It feels like there's still both sides to keep an eye on. H3 or HG, rook H2. I don't know. It's so hard to look it all up. Probably will just be 20 more precise moves and nothing happening. But Dubov not home yet.
No.
He is home. Oh, no, you're right. He's in Yekaterinburg. How was Yekaterinburg, Peter? Is it a nice town?
It was quite nice, actually, yeah. There wasn't much to do in terms of, I don't know, maybe walking inside city limits, but apart from that, yeah, it was a very enjoyable experience.
Weren't you trapped or confined to some hotel room mainly?
Well, you could venture outside. I mean, there was no official curfew imposed. You could actually go take walks, but we were slap bang in the center.
Venture outside?
A little bit, yeah. We would generally go somewhere in the evening and try to unwind at least a little bit. It's just unpleasant. I don't like this king on d1. Now this HG, rook h2 will be so much more of a nuisance. I think we actually need the king as a Steiner-style defender on f2, as Peter indicated.
Okay, b6 on the board. And queen
e3.
So,
don't want to write Dubov off yet, but it feels a bit similar to his kayaking game, no? Where he's
that's clever. He wants to go. He simply wants to go queen a6, and actually, I'm starting to side with Jan here. The more I look at this, the more I think, are we getting stretched?
It's very scary.
Yeah.
Rook b8, bc is always looming, h3, rook h2.
Wow. Yeah,
maybe the source of the troubles was bringing the king over to d1, I don't know, but it doesn't feel safer on the queen side at all to me. c2.
So now what? So let's have a think. So tricky one, yeah?
Let's do the dumbest possible thing. Takes. I guess queen takes, or I'm not sure actually.
I don't get that at all. That's just not
this.
Yeah, even that kind of worries me a little bit from a purely like practical standpoint, because what do we do about it? How do we react to this? It feels annoying.
Feels very dangerous.
You just want to take and go a5, a4, yeah?
Yeah, I always have h3, rook h2 as a bonus option.
H2, I'm getting stretched. Reminds me of that. What was that torture machine they used to use that stretched the limbs? You know the ones I'm talking about?
Stairmaster.
They used to just...
Stairmaster is exactly right, yeah.
whatever it was called, a limb rack or something. Whatever it's called, I can't remember. Anyway, it reminds me of that kind of.
Is it the rack?
I think it's called a limb rack, actually, from memory. Yeah, sounds about right. E8.
You told me it wasn't that easy to purchase online, but you finally found one, right?
I did, yeah. And you've got the mask, right?
I've got many a mask.
No, I was talking about, yeah, exactly. Right, exactly.
Is that what you wear to the gym, Jan?
Yeah, I always go in like that because it's still not safe out there.
Yeah. That is. Okay.
Dubov maybe also figured bringing the king to b2 was not exactly nirvana, and he's headed back to f2. But Nakamura's made considerable progress on the queen side. Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah, this is. You can feel Daniel is also getting a little bit annoyed or concerned here. Is he going to put the queen on a3? Is that ever an idea? Or queen?
I think if allowed, it's very, very possible.
Maybe we do just blunder a pawn. I don't know. Like if he went cb6, ab6, I can take it. No, there's bishop. And then there's no bishop c5, but I would still try and make it work. But it doesn't. Yeah. Shame. What about queen a5? What if I just put the queen on a5 and try and bring, I don't know how I'm going to organize it, but I want to bring the bishop to a6 still? Is still a kind of idea.
Yeah, not sure. And the king actually goes back to f2, which is something we suspected might happen.
Yeah, this feels sensible. Now he can use the other rook, trying to keep the queen side protected. And Nakamura goes h3. Interesting timing, because he doesn't want to wait for rook gc1. So he's telling white, either put your bishop in the corner, or it will never move again, or you block your own rook, and now you have to go e3 to bring these guys back into the queenside action.
That is an interesting bit of timing, because now you're on a clock, basically. If you don't make significant progress in the next couple of moves, you are probably not making any. I guess he just takes on c5 twice now. Oh no, queen c5, rook b5, queen b6 looks awkward. I wonder why this happened. I also have to question the idea of putting the rook on g1 in the first place, to be honest. Just continue inviting hg, rook h2. We can play rook g1 then. For me, I think preventing this from happening would have been a higher priority with the white pieces.
Yeah. It looks unpleasant. Still, how does Hikaru make progress? Queen a5, as Lawrence mentioned. I guess we have queen c3, no? Oh, he does go bc5. Right, probably bishop takes, and rook to b5. Escalating the situation.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense, because he obviously wants to get c6, c5 in, and then even structurally his position will start looking a lot better.
Still, bishop e7, king e7. We go somewhere with the queen. We're threatening e3. No, do you have time for like c5 here? The point is it's not so easy where we go here, because queen b6 check. Anyway, queen c3, let's say. I just want e3.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Looks fine, no?
I'm not sure what the intention is here, to be honest.
Looks
So
perfectly fine.
d6, e3, rook a5.
Yeah, but what you want?
b4, rook a4, a5. I have to be a bit careful I don't get my boys trapped, but
Oh yes, that is always a major concern.
okay, something different is on the board. Let's go to the position. Queen
I went queen d2, not queen c3. Similar intentions. Queen a3, e3, rook a5.
Yeah, I like this.
Bishop d3.
But now he's
c5.
out.
We take on f5.
Wow. Do you know what? Do you know who would play bishop takes f5 here?
Julian Hodgson.
No. No. I mean, he's never going to take on f5 anyway. But Sergei Karyakin reminds me of that moment in the 2016 candidates where he went for this piece set. Peter will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Five
I do too.
Fabiano. And you will too. You know, nerves.
Anyway, rook c1, rook b8. Still tension now, structurally. I'm feeling white should be okay now that all the pieces are out. But
I'm not sure.
It's
quite awkward. And the king on f2, if something actually gets opened on the queen side, the king on f2 will once again become
the lila pawn again.
Yeah, and the lila pawn is very much a problem here. You know, endgames aren't even like, if you imagine the b file getting opened somehow and the rook landing on b2 and staying there, you know, all kinds of things become a potential issue for white.
We're liking black here now, right? We think Hikaru's got a serious chance, because what do you actually do? Okay, bishop e2, he's just making a move and asking Hikaru, what are you? So how does Hikaru actually make progress?
And I'm reading a lot of strong reactions like, WTF, why can't he see pawn to e4? All right, f4?
Bishop takes e4, I guess, and there's queen d6 check.
Ah, that's actually not that difficult, to be fair.
Well, you also have to evaluate. This is good and all that. But yeah, I'm assuming, since it seems obvious to most of the chat, that, yeah, this was a good move.
Can I just say, I find it amazing, yeah, how the chat plays at, you know, an average rating of sort of 2850. 2900.
I think they will be horribly insulted by that assessment. They're much stronger than that.
Oh, they're much stronger. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Much stronger.
I don't know. Personally, I am happy about everyone who's in the chat. Strong player, weak player. Everyone's welcome.
We are all Kaisa's children.
Who's Kaisa? German chess player Kaisa Klug?
You're right.
I'm not sure.
That's a funny name. Yeah, Kaisa Klug. She definitely thinks about. She definitely thinks that about herself.
And we're also kind of getting closer and closer to that 2-minute mark for both, where things could start happening.
So bishop c8 on the board. So the question here is, Daniel, like, this is again, it is Sergei Karyakin part 2, isn't it? This position. It's moving around. Okay, Hikaru, you play. I just have to try not to make a mistake. It's just another. It's just.
That was the vibe I got from this game too. He's trying a bit too hard to, close the game down, which is not his nature, as we say.
In the business.
Then again, ain't over yet. I have a feeling that e4 is a good move here. Just a feeling. And
he
e4
played it.
Wow.
He also understood you can't waiting
D4
around.
rook D1. D4 rook D1 and mate.
D4 I would still have to think about.
And FE4 F5, I guess, and queen enters. No, this is excellent, Daniel. So what
Back
does he
to
do?
activity. And if D4, keep it closed.
Well, it's a concession. The bishop gets a very nice square on c4. So
At least the position improves. Yeah, bishop D3 or bishop C4. Yeah. And
Yeah.
D4 plate. What else?
So hang on a second. FE4. Why was FE4 so wrong? Just F5
F5?
or
No, F5.
takes?
All right, check. Let me see where these
King F7 or king somewhere? Yeah. Why is this?
King F7.
I guess there's just a perpetual somewhere. Like we continue checking. Maybe queen D8 is strong, but also just simply queen H5 check might just be very annoying. Yeah.
Doesn't look like black is playing for a win at least.
Yeah.
I would go queen D8 there without too much hassle.
Let's see what's happening in the game. E4,
Yeah.
D4, bishop to D3. He doesn't want to take because he doesn't want to give the black bishop the E6 square. Bishop D7, rook E1. Yeah, this looks much friendlier for white than...
Yeah, queen b4 played. And now the big question is, can we just take? Because he takes b4, we're obviously quite happy. And if he takes with the rook, we go takes e6.
He did take.
Yeah, and
Queen
cb4,
b4,
I think specifically
CB.
because of that, Hikaru takes cb. But now, yeah, now he's
Now
just
there's
not
no
better.
winning chances, just structurally. Now this is weak, and yeah,
Yeah.
white is safe. Nice comeback by Dubov. Yeah, I'm not sure. He
Amazing.
seemed to be in trouble, but then...
Yeah,
spotted
it's
his resource.
not...
Maybe Hikaru. Sorry, that.
No, like it's kind of weird to call this a comeback because he probably was fine all the way, but it's nice that he forced himself to become active and not continue going bishop b2, bishop f1 forever. And yeah, very difficult to see how he is ever losing this position now.
Also, I'm not sure he was fine all the way, given from what.
Like, can't Hikaru only be the one who's worse here now?
Yeah, for sure. But that doesn't matter so much for the situation now, since the draw is like...
Let's go bishop c4, bishop c4, bc4, run the c pawn, liquidate to a rook and pawn ending. And
I'm not sure.
brother.
Daniel is sure, though.
Yeah.
There's also rook c4, no? Why even go bc?
Yeah, we never. I don't think we're ever changing the structure here. Take with the rook, go king e2, king d3.
Rook c7 try.
Rook c7 is clever, yeah. At least trying to force white to take with the b pawn at some point.
Well, no, maybe once rook c5, but as a...
Yeah, take like this, and then start pushing the c pawn. Yeah, white is just better. Like if you get completely out of line, you probably lose here. So
yeah, you can't just take that many liberties.
So it looks as though we're going to get a third day.
yeah, seems very likely somehow.
Which is, I have to say, I wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't. I thought that Hikaru would close it out today, actually, and losing that first game with white was.
That's an interesting decision.
Do we have more action?
I'm a little bit surprised by. I'm a little bit surprised by this. I don't know if this was necessary, and now you have to make moves. Whoa. I guess he wants rook e2, yeah. But because rook c6, e6 probably is still playable, so black has to go rook e6, and now we can maybe pass with rook e1, rook e2 forever.
What's the big deal? Rook c2? What do you want?
Yeah, we've had this.
Six.
Yeah, so it's just a repetition, yeah.
Repetition is acceptable now. Rook c6, can we go rook
e6,
c2?
yeah. Rook c2 probably also playable, yeah. Hikaru goes king e6 because repetition is not acceptable for him, but yeah, once we have to give up the d pawn, that's... Also rook c2 probably, yeah. King takes d4 is also fine, but rook c2 was quite strong there, hoping to pick up the pawn on d4 after assuming control over the...
And now there's one trick left. He wants to go rook c1, rook g1, rook g2. Even that's not true.
But even that,
go
he's not
king
winning
e3.
after king
Yeah,
e3.
it's
Yeah,
still-
like he doesn't actually have a single threat here, and Daniel has 2 minutes, so that's generally not very promising.
Yeah, it's just a draw, isn't it? Because the h2 pawn is a fixed weakness, so black is really never in danger here, is he?
Yeah, I think it's difficult
White
to
being
imagine
later.
how white wins this, but he doesn't need to, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Check.
Yeah, go back, go to d2 maybe, and then rook e3, rook d3, or that's probably the safest. King d2, rook e3, rook d3, and rook d6 check, because we can actually give that pawn back. That pawn endgame is completely drawn. The king never enters. So he got.
Now we chase a rook, yeah, rook e3.
Yeah.
Yeah, rook
I
e3,
wants
and it's
rook
going to be a
e2,
draw.
g2.
Yeah.
That's just an immediate draw. Yeah. Oh, he can go rook f2, rook g2, and then after you go king somewhere, you go rook g1, and the rook kind of escapes. But yeah, it doesn't change very much.
Not exactly winning for black after king e3, rook d2.
No. Probably king d3 is the cleanest. Huh, that's maybe even smarter, actually. Now we're playing king d2, king d1 forever, and if rook g1, rook e1, that's quite clever by Daniel. That's a nice little joke.
Mm.
It's a yoke. King e7, king d2. We can also play e6, but we don't have to. Oh no, e6? Yeah, we can actually play e6, but obviously there's no reason to play e6.
Who would do that?
Yeah, this one is not going to last much longer, meaning Hikaru Nakamura is going to need to win tomorrow. It's going to be a fight to the death tomorrow.
Wow.
It's going to be exciting. So Peter and Tanya will
So who loses? Sorry, go ahead.
Peter and Jan will Peter and Tanya, I mean, will be back tomorrow, I believe.
We don't know yet. We have to figure out. No one's planned that far ahead.
I think he actually
Someone
plays
will be-
e6 here,
Someone
just
will
to
do
stop the dancing. Yeah, just go e6, give the pawn back, and then go king e3, d3 forever.
that. What
think
bothers
that's
you
the
after
cleanest.
king d1? He does go e6. So
Nah, just finish the game. Because there's nothing that can shift your king away from e3, d3 squares.
yeah, this I would hold.
You can also pre-move forever.
You can pre-move. Yeah, no, you can't. AB3.
Yeah, okay, if you see a4, then you stop pre-moving for a second, win the game, and then go back to pre-moving.
And draw agreed. That means Daniel Dubov forces a third day winning today's match. Congratulations to Daniel. Yeah. Unexpected, but great for us. We get, or I'm not sure if it was unexpected. It will look pretty convincing after winning that first game, but a surprise to many, I'm sure. Great for us. We get more chess action in this Lindores Abbey Rapid Challenge. Whoever wins their mini match tomorrow wins the event. Daniel Dubov, tenacious.
Tenacious D. They should call.
Tenacious double D.
Oh, Tenacious double D. Yeah, that's been done, has it?
I don't know.
Is he joining us?
I think he is, yes. Depending on there has been a history of him needing the link to the Zoom.
History of linking. I'll be back in
a jiffy.
Minutes.
All right. So we're waiting for Daniel Dubov. Meantime, remember, guys, tonight we've got Peter Lecko giving the Banter Blitz in about 2 hours from now. Well, hour and 50 minutes. Make sure you become premium. Use the code DOUBLE.
And there he is. And we welcome to the show our finalist and the winner of today's second set, Daniel Dubov. So how'd it go?
Well, at least it was better than yesterday, I think so. Yeah, it was sort of tense. I mean, in general, after yesterday, I sort of decided to to play some mirror chess, because I thought yesterday, I mean, first of all, many things went wrong for me, and the first one is that he played very well, but it was not the only one. Like I had like many troubles, and in general, I mean, I felt a bit shaky. So the funny thing about yesterday is that actually at some point, some random, like absolutely random guy joined our Zoom chat. And then during the game, I started receiving like random messages with moves like, "We love you, good luck, brother," try to beat him, and so on and so on. And I mean, it was completely ridiculous, because like every single time when we get a notification from the chat, it basically means it could be the arbiter. And the way I fix the things, I can never sort of I mean, I can never see who exactly was the person to send a message. So like every single time I had to open a chat, and then every single time I looked at this like completely random guy, like, "We love you, good luck, brother," or we are winning, and so on. But the funny thing is that he was actually posting moves, and the moves, like, obviously they weren't engine moves, like they were not brilliant, but they were not completely pointless as well. I mean, it was pretty.
I don't know why I'm laughing. This sounds kind of horrible in a competitive game. It's funny, but not funny. You really don't want this.
Are you saying that your Zoom call was hacked, Daniel? Is that what you're telling us? That the Zoom call was hacked?
I mean, I don't know. Like, it was
some
either
random. Okay.
I mean, it's either the Zoom call was hacked or some Chess24 guy, I mean, decided to bring a little bit too much.
Pretty sure it's not an employee.
I
would stake a large amount of my net worth on this not being an employee.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, I mean, it was funny. It was not the reason why I lost, I mean, but it was just, you know, like series of disconnects, which was also extremely annoying. Like, I mean, I lost this first game like an idiot, and I had to play the second game. And then, like, once you try to think a little bit, you see this, like, you will lose a game in like 10, 9, 8, and so on. Then at some point it jumps back to 20, and it starts counting down again. And the same was with Hikaru. And Hikaru and me were like typing in the chat, but there were only two of us there. So I was saying, like, okay, but my internet seems to be okay. It's something about the server. And he said, yes, same with me. And we discussed it a little bit, but unfortunately no one joined us. And yeah, I mean, it was sort of shaky anyway. But the chess part was, yeah, I mean, that he just played better. And what's even more important, he played like really fast. And for today, I decided, okay, I will do pretty much the same thing. I will play like random sort of normal moves quickly. And it kind of worked out.
Yeah, you subscribe to the Russian way of playing: win with black, draw with white. This is what we were all taught.
Yeah, so I guess the match was kind of decided by game one. So let's maybe talk about that particular game for a bit. What happened in the opening there? Because it looked like you were slightly better by move 15, but also both of you seemed to be aiming for the same position somehow.
Well, first of all, it kind of makes sense to play Lapin against me because, yeah, I've lost a very big number of games there. So I sort of knew it can happen. I mean, even in White, I mean, generally I was doing sort of okay, but even there I managed to lose like a very stupid game in a Lapin against Jordan von Forest, who played this game very well, but I mean, still, it's not that like I was lost by move 20 or something. So this time I decided to prepare for like one more move. I don't know, I think... I mean, probably we will, yeah, we will continue playing the Lapin tomorrow, so I don't want to reveal too much. But I think in general, like, what I did should be okay. That's what I thought. And then this ending, I mean, it looks like black is slightly better, no?
Yeah, that's what we thought.
I mean, it should be a draw after some knight takes c5 or something, but it's white who has to be, like, trying to achieve this draw.
Right.
Yeah. I was actually making the argument on air for taking on e5 here and just trying to make a draw by force, because the endgame white gets in the game seems like it's actually kind of less cheerful.
No, I think he would be very happy to make a draw by force, but he failed to find it, and so did I. I actually didn't see. I mean, Like I was not pushing myself too hard to find a draw by force for white here, but I didn't see it, to be honest.
Yeah, neither have I, but I still felt like it might be practically the best option.
Yeah, probably. But it's also tricky, like when you're slightly worse and you don't see any draw by force, you don't know if you need to simplify or you should just play it. Because I think in general he was sort of inspired by the way I played yesterday. He basically thought I will be like down 2 seconds and then I'll blunder something. And that's his general strategy. So he basically plays fast and he never blunders, and then he just waits. And he knows that normally, like one time in a match of 4 games, his opponent will probably blunder, and then it's enough, pretty much. So it actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's his great skill to play fast and avoid blunders. So it's sort of reasonable that he tries to use it. But in this game, I mean, it was quite difficult to blunder from some point. I mean, with a knight on c4, it looks reasonably solid, I would say.
Yeah.
And the conversion looked like you were never really troubled very much. Then in game 2, it looked like there was some kind of a theoretical discussion, which you both were kind of okay with the game being a draw if he makes all the right moves.
Yeah, sure. I mean, white has some options there to get something more sharp. But in general, I just wanted him to show something in this line. Because actually yesterday, I mean, it was sort of mysterious. So I played English opening like many times, I mean, including games against him. And yeah, after this e5, knight takes d5, knight b6, for like many years, I've been playing only this line. So I played it like the position after knight d4 e3, I played like maybe five times. Then my friends Boris and Maxim played it like another 4 times. But still, yeah, somehow I just wanted him to show something, and yesterday he failed to. Yeah, today he was obviously prepared, and what he did was more reasonable, of course. So I thought, yeah, I mean, I know how to get a game here as well. I just thought I didn't need it, honestly. Then the third game was actually like short but funny.
Yeah, the third game was, you know, a dragon when the king is castled on the king's side. We're always happy with black.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's like, don't call it dragon, it's an English opening, okay? I mean, it's colors are reversed, but it's still English opening. Because right. I don't like playing dragon, I hate it, but I like playing English opening. So when I have to play it, I say, okay, I'm playing English opening, it's fun.
Very good.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know, I think like what he did in the very beginning actually makes a lot of sense as far as I remember, but I don't think he actually, I mean, obviously, like he couldn't spend a week preparing, so I don't think he actually realized what the idea of this h3 is, in fact. And I think what he did in the game, the whole concept with knight d5, I thought after queen c5, it's very comfortable for black. I think in general, playing bishop h6, bishop takes g7 is not a way to go with white. I think you normally try. I think you normally try to get something rook f2 e1, then bishop g5 and knight d5 maybe. I mean something like that, or you go for f4. But basically, bishop h6 is never your main intention. So rook a doesn't mean black will avoid the bishop trade. So yeah, after bishop h6, I felt like it's kind of safe, and then I pushed myself to calculate this queen takes c2. Which I don't know, like if he blundered or something. I mean, I think he felt like he's not better otherwise, and he just saw that he can take on h7, and he won't be worse. So I think he just hoped for it to be bad, and yeah, I mean it seems to work for black. Yeah. Because it's actually tricky after rook e1. Like I cannot play rook b8.
Which rook fe1? Yeah.
No, after rook, like what we got in the game, queen takes c2, queen d4, queen takes a7, queen takes b2, queen b7, queen a2. Yeah, rook a1, move 22. So the thing is that after rook a1, I mean, I sort of want to play rook b8, but it doesn't work because of queen takes. And then after queen takes a1, he takes on a8 with a check.
Sorry, rook b8 here.
Yeah, then queen takes.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why I have to play queen c2. And then if he goes rook e to c1, which I think was probably his original intention,
right?
Then then, I mean, first of all, I have queen f5, but here rook b8 does work. So that was my point. I thought it's rock solid. So now I take on c1 with a check. So that's the difference.
Right.
And otherwise, I take b3, and I mean, okay, only black can be better.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's why he decided to force a draw, which was a reasonable choice, actually.
Yeah, and then in the last game we were discussing, and it was like hallmarks of your game against Sergei Karyakin, where it's one of those positions where you can't really do much. You have to wait for him, which doesn't really seem, in my opinion, to suit your style that much. How were you feeling in game 4?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I sort of agree. I mean, in general, I started to think about a different way. So, I mean, first of all, when it's one game left and you have, I mean, the match is not over. Even mathematically, it's sort of okay that, like, your opponent has, like, I don't know, like 10 to 20%. It's sort of okay. I mean, it's normal. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you just play it. I just stopped feeling like, okay, like now it's mine and I only have to be careful. No, it's actually sort of okay. You're playing very strong players. They're getting a game. So it's, I mean, you will lose some games for sure. Then somehow it started to feel different. I mean, then you just play a game. I think I should have played like e2, e4 in this game many times. Maybe starting from 1 actually, but even around move like, I don't know, 30 or something. I mean, I think in general he sort of played it very. I mean, he played in a very ambitious way, basically saying that I will never have counterplay, which I don't think was actually correct. But for instance, when I played bishop d3, yeah, I played queen d2, which I think is okay. Yeah, bishop d3. So, like, my original intention was to, I mean, at least make it look like after c5, I have bishop takes f5. But then he probably takes and goes queen takes d5, c4.
Yeah.
I mean, probably it works. I don't know. I have some, I don't know, queen b7, rook b5. Yeah, maybe here I have nothing. But then I could also try with the bishop on e2. I could try e4 like many times. And I mean, God knows what is that, to be honest.
In this position, the chat was yelling e4 was
maybe. But then, I mean, okay, you need to calculate. I wasn't that sure. So after e4, I think I was worried about c4. That's at least what I thought. Now, I mean,
yeah,
okay, I mean, I have some fancy moves like e takes d5, but I mean, you don't want it, really. But after b takes c4, I think he can just take on e4. And then the d6 square is covered, and I mean, okay, I don't know what is that. I mean, I could be just winning, but I mean, at least it's, I mean, it's something different. Because, yeah, I mean, in general, it was sort of tricky. I felt like I'm solid enough, yeah? I mean, if he would have his pawn on a5 and rook on a7, I would feel like a4 is coming and I need to do something desperately. But in the game with the stupid rook on a5, I didn't really see how exactly I can lose it if he... Yeah, I mean, if he cannot bring the rook back, so I was just...
Yeah, I cheated briefly, and it looks like instead of queen a3, queen b6 check was probably a lot stronger. Specifically to avoid placing the rook on a5, queen b6, e3, rook b4, and then rook c8, c5.
Yeah, that's what I thought. No, here I was not excited at all. I thought like c5, a5, a4, he will get all the stuff. I will probably have to play some rook c3, bishop d1, and wait forever. But then even if he trades everything, this like h2 will be weak in the very end. So yeah, I was not excited. But this setup with queen on a3, somehow it felt like, I mean, it felt a little bit strange to me, to be honest. I don't know. He probably had some points though, but yeah, I didn't really see it.
But in the end, you found the e4 break was necessary, and after that, it was plain sailing for you. The position completely changed, and
yeah, but I just realized. I mean, my problem was that basically I just cannot force myself to play bishop too quickly. I just realized I keep calculating e4 like every single move. And like every single time, it takes you like 40 seconds. And then you play some bishop d3 or bishop e2. So at some point, I realized if I will continue like that, I'll just lose on time. Or I will play e4 when I will be like down to 20 seconds. So I just realized, I mean, I have this temptation, and I can't really fight it. So I thought, okay, let's go e4, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I didn't see what exactly is wrong with f takes e4, to be honest. I mean, it just felt very natural for me, like I go f5.
When?
Yeah, e4, f takes e4, I thought. No, not here. Because in the game he put
in the game.
yeah, move 37. So I thought f5, okay, he takes. But then it's not that obvious. Like queen g5, he starts running king d7, I thought maybe.
King d7.
Like my intuition was screaming that like at least I will have some perpetual here. So if I don't have it immediately, I'll have some rook d1 even. Then after d4, some rook takes d4 could be the move.
Can you not take here?
Yeah, but then he plays king c7.
I don't know.
I mean, again, I can, but then he plays king b8. I mean, God knows what is that. Or even c4 in some lines, I don't know. Maybe king b8 first. Then when you take c5, he takes a2. I mean, okay, now I see that king g1 is winning at the end, but it was not obvious to me during the game. But anyway, my intuition was just screaming, okay, just go a5 and at least we'll have a perpetual, come on. And yeah, then he played d4, which was extremely surprising, actually. Because after e4, d4, I actually don't see how Black can win it. I mean, unless I blunder something big. But I think in terms of practical game, you should just take on e4, and then, okay, you pray. If you lose, you lose. But,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, he seemed a bit off today, Hikaru. So tomorrow, Daniel.
Hang on, before we get to the end, because I've been debating with the chat for the last 30 minutes, trying to explain why e6 is a good move here. Daniel, did you see that you could maybe win the game with king e3 in this position?
I mean, first of all, I didn't want to win a game, so rook g1 e6 is the point, yeah?
I have no idea, but the chat, they are saying king e3 is +7, while e6 is just a draw. So please explain why a draw is good enough here.
Well, first of all, it's not always good enough. Actually, against Karakin, I was like trying to get all the points. But against Hikaru, first of all, I think it actually pretty much depends on on how the guy plays. And Hikaru, I mean, okay, you may like him or dislike him, but these terms, I think he's like always correct. So, for instance, when I played him in this Moscow Grand Prix, we had to play tiebreak. I lost the first game with white, and then in the second one, he just offered me a draw in a position like 3 pawns each, and he had rook versus knight, which is basically lost. And I mean, okay, he's just an exchange up and rock solid, but he just offered me a draw. Which was, I mean, I thought, okay, it kind of makes sense. I feel the same way if I don't have something personal, I mean, against the guy. And yeah, I mean, against me yesterday, he did the same thing. Yeah, I mean, he was a pawn up in the very end, but again, I mean, okay, if you win a match, you win a match. There is no point in trying to hurt people even more.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just thought, I mean, okay, I didn't see e6 exactly. I mean, after king e3. But I mean, I obviously knew that, yeah, there are probably ways to try to win it. But yeah, I mean, I thought there is no need.
Yeah. Thanks. Sorry, a lot of questions. Congratulations, and yeah, best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Yep, Daniel Dubov doing the necessary today, winning the match when he needed to, meaning that this goes to the third set. Hikaru Nakamura, Daniel Dubov will fight it out tomorrow, and the winner of this tournament will be decided. It's been a roller coaster coming down to the final day, and it's going to be exciting. Make sure you're all here, of course. The action doesn't stop tonight, as mentioned, in an hour and a half. The one, the only, former World Championship finalist, Peter Lecco, and friend of the stream, is going to be doing... Is it his first ever Banter Blitz? I don't recall him.
Yeah, it is.
Yep, his first ever Banter Blitz. Peter Lecco, if you want to play against one of the strongest players of our generation, you have to become a premium member. You know what to do. Use the code DOUBLE, get 2 months for the price of one, chess24.com/premium. And you might get lucky enough. Can't guarantee it because he can't play everybody, but you might get lucky enough to play against Peter Lecco in front of many hundreds, if not thousands, of spectators. So big privilege to play such players. I think, though, that's probably...
I think Leiko's going to tell it all, including that 1960s visit by Robert James Fisher.
I think that's it from us. It's been... I feel strange today. I don't know what's happened. Hikaru didn't really... I don't know. Was he a bit complacent? Did he just think he was going to close out the match, or was he not firing? I mean, it's very unclear to me what happened today.
My theory, which has been sort of proven wrong through these events, is, but as an avid basketball watcher, very often in NBA playoffs, the favorite wins game one, and then the tension drops a little bit. They relax a little bit, and very, very often it happens that then they go on to lose game number two, which is not that much of a must-win situation. So that could be it, but it could also just be that it's two very strong players, and it's not the same player that's going to win every day.
That is very true.
Yeah. Well, they're two warriors, they're two great players, as you said, two fighters, and tomorrow it will be down to the wire. $45,000 up for grabs, bragging rights, the title of Lindores Abbey Rapid Challenge champion, and of course some very key points towards the tour standings in general. Remember, they are all battling it out 4 points to make the grand finale in a couple of months' time, I guess now. Maybe, yeah, I think it's in August. So lots to fight for. We're going to be here, of course, giving you breakdown of all the action, plenty of good and bad jokes along with it, and hope you've had a great day. Time for me to go and hop in an ice bath or something, because I am, woo!
You're right, Lawrence?
Yeah, it's just exceptionally hot today. Bright lights, hot weather, that sort of stuff. So I'm going to go and cool off, maybe do a bit of sound meditation, have a bit of avocado, that sort of stuff. The good life.
Yeah, have a nice one, and thanks for watching, everybody. See you tomorrow. As usual, whatever the lineup will be, we have the best lineups here. In terms of commentary, I am very, very convinced of that.
Wow, shots fired. The ever controversial Mr. Svidler.
All right,
very
guys.
much so.
Get yourself some popcorn. See you, or someone will see you here tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Chess is simple. You just make the right moves.
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery. Magnus Carlsen introduces Chessable, the definitive solution for studying chess. Move Trainer uses the science of spaced repetition to identify your strengths and eliminate your weaknesses. There's no need to set up a board, remember which page you're on, or keep track of all the moves you miss. Move Trainer empowers you to go from the opening to the end game with confidence. It's a seamless, effective, and fun way to study chess. Choose from one of the largest online chess libraries in the world, with hundreds of titles ranging from classic books through to our exclusive Chessable courses, including over 100 free courses. Get expert insights from International Master John Bartholomew, Grandmaster Sam Shankland, International Master Christoph Sulecki, Grandmaster Simon Williams, World Champion Magnus Carlsen, and hundreds of other instructors. Get started now and join our growing community of over 100,000 chess enthusiasts at chessable.com. Chessable, take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
Now anyone can learn and improve their chess skills with the world champion, Magnus Carlsen. The Magnus Trainer app is packed with fun mini-games and interactive training content. Playable anytime, anywhere. Get the Magnus Trainer, available in the App Store and Google Play.
Every battle is won by preparation. We've taken one of the most popular chess books ever written and rewired it for the modern player. The Art of Attack. Learn with Chessable's state-of-the-art Move Trainer technology, presented by myself, Grandmaster Simon Williams. I'll talk you through 29 hours worth of educational video content. From attacking the uncastled king, bishop sacrifices, diagonal attacks, and classic pawn storms. Paint your opponent's king into a corner with the Art of Attack.
E5, it's E5 Patzers.
A complete repertoire against 1 E4 based on 1 E5, now available to study with Chessable's unique Move Trainer technology. The backbone is the Marshall Gambit against the Spanish, with 3 Knight F6 against the Italian. Jan Gustafsson has revisited all these lines he has played for 20 years and worked on as a second for Peter Lecko and Magnus Carlsen, amongst others, with the help of the most powerful engines out there, Leela 0 and Stockfish 10. This has led to many new discoveries and a repertoire ready to master on Chessable that can serve the student for a long chess career.
Maybe E4 doesn't exist after all.
E5, it's E5 Patzers.
For most chess players, it has never been about becoming the next greatest, but about defining your own path, your own style of play. Nobody can define that for you, but perfecting your style takes practice. Introducing Alex Astane Lopez, International Master. Sign up for CoChess waitlist and train with Alex to bring out the unique player in you. Train smart, play smart. CoChess.com.
Positional play doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean repetitiveness or adequacy. Positional play means outsmarting your opponent. Do just that. Introducing Raluca Skircha, Woman International Master. Sign up for the CoChess waitlist and train with Raluca to bring out the unique player in you. Train smart, play smart. CoChess.com.